Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to week 4 of the NECC Championship, and the Rainbow Six Siege scene is heating up. I'm McCready. Joining me tonight is Joe, going to be stepping in at very last minute, and very much appreciated as well, joining us for the game that we do have tonight. A very exciting one as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been told this is an exciting one, and I'm hoping it is an exciting one, getting called in last minute. Always love some good games of Siege. So, I don't know too much about either of these teams, but what I can say is if it's a good game of Siege, I am all for it.
Yeah, and looking at the two teams that we have today, it is going to be exactly that. So let's bring up the first team of our two today. That's going to be UW Platteville, eh? And I'm not sure I recognize these names, but some of you might, and if you do, then you might know a little bit more of what we're into. But ultimately, I absolutely love playing teams that I don't know anything about because there's so much potential for them to spoil me and give me something fresh.
Yeah, you definitely love seeing something fresh, learning about new teams. The other team we do have is Wayne State College. Um, like I said, I don't know much about either of these teams, but what I do know is this team is 3-0, 4-0 today. So, I do love seeing new Siege. I would love to see what kind of style these guys would bring out for us today. So, maybe see some interesting things, maybe some people bringing out some interesting plays that we don't normally get to see. Just excited overall to watch this gameplay.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're going to jump into the map bans very, very quickly just to get things kicking off as soon as possible. It's going to be Villa, Border, and Clubhouse following up. So still early days in the season, and you're looking towards these maps as more default-based, more kind of comfort picks. I think the big one, though, that stands out to me is looking over towards the side of the... I'm going to remember the name. It's horrible. It's coming to me. The Wayne State College going for the border pick on there. I feel like that's one that you might see slightly more experienced teams that have that team comp from a couple of years ago when Border was back in the map pool. I feel like that's a comfort pick we might see from them. So maybe Wayne State College, they have a little something up their sleeves for Border.
Yeah, it's a little interesting to me looking at those side picks as well, picking attack first, which I do like. But seeing Wisconsin Platteville pick defense first on Border is something really interesting to me. It's a very attacker-sided map. If, all goes well, if nothing's too crazy. But anyways, screw Border. Who cares about Border? We're hopping right into Villa. That is our map 1. So, like I said, I just seeing Wayne State pick attack first is something that, you don't always see. But obviously, they're very comfortable with doing it if they were to pick it first. So I'm expecting to see them come out strong on this map, have some very comfortable attacks, see what they can do on that side, and see if they can maybe even not only, get a decent attack split, but maybe even put themselves in a lead going into their defense.
Well, yeah, looking towards Wayne State, they are currently 3-0, and it is the championship division. So you're looking at these teams. You want to believe that they know exactly what they're doing on these maps, and going into a map like this on the attacking side, I'm looking towards Wayne State saying, well, that's a confidence move. That's a power play. You say, right, Villa, let's get an early lead. Even if we're on the attack, we lose a couple of rounds, that's fine, because then we have the defense. But I found Villa as a map for attackers, if you're very aggressive, very controlling from the get-go, if you can take that 90 position within 45 seconds of getting in the building, you are going to be able to convert that round most of the time. Looking over towards the operator bans, though, we are going to see the 2 Spanish operators going, followed by the British EMP device operator, Thatcher. And Thatcher's taken a little bit of a hit in the utility department recently, so it's not as big a ban as it normally is, but when you weigh it up against those new Impact EMPs, then there's a little charm to Thatcher, I think I want to say.
Wow. Thatcher on Villa, I'm not going to say he's useless, but he's really just not that powerful. So to me, that's a little bit of a waste of a ban. Something to note as well, Nook is on the board, but getting rid of Smoke is definitely extremely, extremely interesting. And yeah, as I said that, the Nook is picked very quickly. But getting rid of the Smoke means that it looks like Wisconsin Platteville is very comfortable with playing Tachanka for that kind of, area denial that Smoke would give you. If you have, a Tachanka player on your team, someone who's comfortable playing it, getting rid of smoke, like versus me, when I play, I'm a lot more comfortable in smoke than I am on Tachanka. I'm not going to have that same impact as I would on the smoke, as I will on the Tachanka. So that's definitely an interesting ban, but having that comfortable Tachanka player is definitely going to set them apart a little bit. And I do want to see how this Nook is, incorporated into these attacks, because Nook is very powerful in the meta right now. Not only that, but specifically on this map, she is insanely powerful. So I do want to see how she's incorporated in these attacks, using her abilities, maybe off the back of her, be able to win some attacks.
Oh yeah, now, like you say, a big power move from Vladiville. They do bring that to Chunker, like you say, and when you think about it on the flip side later in the map, then that's Wayne State. They're going to have to play without that smoke, and if you aren't comfortable with the Chunker, you are going to struggle. Now, it's not to say there aren't positives to it. I mean, you have the destruction of a shotgun, but you also have the magazine's size of an LMG. You have that range that you can use as well. Starting off this round very quickly, though, we are going to see the Nomad jumping on that Astro window, trying to get a little bit of information, get that clear over towards Master Bedroom. Will be able to spot Lock to the rim, but the question is, have you spotted the mute? Do you know that Bubba's playing nearby? The push comes through, looks for that opening pick, but isn't able to find it, and as such, Lock to the rim will back off into bathroom. Question is, do Wayne State, do they want to go for that hunt? Or do they let them get away scot-free, waste that time? A little bit of fires being traded, but it is going to be Locked. Edgy actually able to find Bubba with the cutoff. Frosty's able to find a refrag though, and the red stairs control has gone in favor of Wayne State.
I mean, they have worked themselves into red, but it appears that Plattsville might be somewhat aware of this, and the Nomad has just completely fallen off his position as well. So they've given up this across take that they were originally going for, and now it looks like the Flores is going to come over and rotate, but this Nook and the Twitch, it's a little weird that they're both together. It feels like it just negates the Nook, but the Twitch is starting to make that move towards the statue side, as you can see on your screen. Yeah, Rooney still making plays over here, and there's just no info, and the Rooney kills the Flores with Case down. That's not something you like to see, and the Nook and the Twitch just still on red stairs, not doing anything, just waiting for a pick maybe to come in, but the Rooney is fully aware. She sees one player, she misses, ends up losing the gunfight on the Nook. A huge pick to even up the man advantage. Back in the map. People scattered all over the map, and to be quite honest with you, I was expecting a little bit more out of these attacks, but they just seem all out of sort right now.
Yeah, well, looking at that very strong start coming out for the defenders at the moment, but you've also got to consider a big problem here. This is the slowdown that's coming through, and a little bit of vertical play from you as well. The Tachanka Flames, they're coming out beautifully. They're doing their intended effect. 40 seconds left. These Shamika's being launched at Tachanka. LMG drops out, tries to find its target, but isn't able to do so. We'll see Hollow getting down as the plan starts to go down. It's all down to Backerville to stop this denial. We'll have to go for that revive with 30 seconds left. But Platterville are taking their time. The C4 goes through, but not before the plank goes down. Robo, a beautiful C4 to start things off, and now it's down to the attackers to become the defenders, and the defense to go on the attack. Hollow able to shut things down. It's going to be Jebro with the retake, and the defuse getting covered. It might be that might be the Jaeger going down, but the defuse will not be stopped. First round going in favor of Bloodville in a very hit or miss round for both sides.
Yeah, I was a little confused at the way Wayne State. It doesn't really make much sense to me that you're going to have your Nook, who we know is a heavy lurk operator. That's her goal. She's supposed to, get into these pockets of the map, get up in your business without you really being aware of it. And she just was with another teammate. So her position was obviously, presented to the whole team. Plattsville was obviously, they were aware of their presence the whole time on red, and they were just sitting there for the entire time, not helping anybody clear this side of the map. So they didn't get that kind of control. And well, for the most part, I mean, I don't really know why the Tachanka pushed up 90. He really did not need to. But, they just hop on the case, and they end up winning the round. And that's a good first defense coming out of them, if we're being honest. And Wayne State, they picked attack first. And for me, I want to see a little bit more. I want to see why they picked the attack first. I'm hoping it wasn't just, to get defense second. But I just want to see more coming out of them.
Yeah, I want to touch upon that point a little bit. You had the Twitch, you had the Nomad, the Nox, sorry, playing over on those red stairs. You knew Arini was still there. You knew Lock to the Rim was still on that room, still nearby. It wasn't really drawn out correctly. You did have the Flores of Terry Ball rotate around, jump inside that master bedroom without the droning. Because you gotta be honest, when you look at that situation, that player's still on the board. Unless you know that they have dropped down, you have to consider it as enemy. You cannot just assume, well, we're just gonna jump in, I'm just gonna back up the red stairs players. Obviously, all the pieces in theory were there. Just little things that needed to be ironed out, and we could have seen a different round. This time, however, the downstairs push is going to be taking place to get the utility off the wall, and while the roamers, they are going to be over towards study, it will take them a bit of time to rotate around. Question is, will they cotton on quick enough? It seems like they have. Some of the defenders start turning their attention down below, and Hollow will be looking to get that utility. Doing so will allow the Flores drone to move in and get some of these mute jammers. It's going to be a difficult time, though, with the Aruni gates. So this is where we start looking towards the MP operators, but no gadgets on the board, no Thatcher in that ban phase.
I mean, the way that he's just using that impact, I'm not really sure of too much. I'd like so, you know, there doesn't really seem to be too much utility there on the wall. Kind of a little bit of a waste of an impact if you ask me, but excuse me. You have these players below, and now Frosty is going for a little bit of a flank here, and I'm not quite sure they're aware of this. Sophia completely clueless to the position of the alibi. He's going to get his kill and just run away. I love that play coming out of Frosty. He gets the kill, and Wayne State, it looks like they're playing their information so well at the beginning of the round, but it happened last round, happened this round, just mid-round. There's nothing going on, and that's a second kill coming out of Locke, and it's just this mid-round information. They just look confused when it comes to actually, you know, pushing anything in the round, and Locke getting really aggressive here. Oh my god, a little bit of a heat check, some would say. Frosty getting one as well, and Wayne State's attack is just completely collapsing in front of our eyes.
Yes, as Age is able to find one, but that deployable shield on that statue door is going to be causing problems. Empressy taken down by Frosty, able to find a third. Age will get the trade, but as you find a second as well, the big problem is in these one-dimensional pushes. I'm seeing not much kind of attention to that second front from Wayne State. And now Edgy, left in that 1v2, plays Astra a good position, but you have to be controlling. Looks over towards Master, finds the quad. The ace is going to be needed. The captain, they get it! Wayne State, we doubted you. That was a really good round. A beautiful ace coming through from Edgy to bring it back. We just need to see this momentum continue. Prove it isn't a one-time thing, then I'll be happy, Joe.
Look, at the end of the day, it's a great round win for them. An absolutely amazing play from Edgy. That's the kind of things that you need. And rounds like that going your way are absolutely huge. But at the end of the day, you can't rely on round wins like that to win you a game. You know what I mean? Like, you can't expect your players or rely on your players to make these amazing plays to win. You got to have some teamwork. You got to fix these mistakes that you're making in these early rounds, because clearly the big play potential is there. And if you can put that together with, you know, your normal play style, your normal teamwork, these normal takes, you can definitely get some real damage in, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, though, I want to see a little bit more second processes, like just a second front, even if it's just putting a little bit of pressure on these roamers. We saw quite a bit. I believe Hollow was taken down on red stairs very early on in the round. Frost was able to run around, find that frag. There wasn't anyone to refrag. They didn't really gain anything from that. And then later in the round, when we saw them start to push, the Astra stairs push went up towards bathroom, sorry. There was no pressure at any other point of the map. The roamer didn't feel pressured. Because of that, we saw Frosty being able to take that kill. And it's something that we saw a couple of times during that round as well. At the end of the round, on the flip side, though, it did take case with Platteville in the 1v2, but I feel like the ball's really in Wayne State's court for that position. We're looking over towards this round, though. 30 seconds off the clock already. Locked to the rim with the pulse bringing that information. This site I've seen really brings out those SAS operators quite a bit. You have the castle barricades, you have the information in the C4. it just brings around a lot of good vibes when it comes to setting up a site. You're able to have that utility down. You're able to get a mute jammer down, make that pantry very difficult to push, and very susceptible to roamers as well, which is why you'll see Wayne State right now. They need to start droning. They have a player on the window, players over towards that basement, but looking for the line of sight. Hollow's going to pick things up early.
I mean, definitely a good pick. It's a little interesting to me, though, that they did switch off of that IQ for this round, but they missed a C4, which is not something you really like in these castle barricades. I mean, you look at their positions, and it's seemingly hurting the defense more than helping. They ended up getting a kill off the back of it as well, and they've completely given up laundry control, which is not something you like to see. And like I said, he's just made himself stuck in that corner with the castle barricade, and that's another kill going to the side of Wayne State. And Platteville, at this defense, and I'm starting to get a little confused at what they're trying to do here.
Yeah, well, at least Bob is able to bring things back to that one-player difference. Jetro as well going to be able to find Elijah AG and take that nomad off the board. That top fragger for the side of Wayne State, that huge performer in that last round, just slows things down a little bit, bringing us all even Stevens within the player count. But when you look over towards that pantry, they are pressured quite a bit. Fuse are going to have to go into that laundry position, start putting the pressure on so that when the attackers push, they push together. The coordination will be there. Gemini going to start leading things off. The impact nade to deny it, and the pre-fire coming out from Robo. Very nicely done. Very good denial of that utility. There's a crossfires there. Bubba spots a player, isn't able to land this shot, but you know there's going to be two players in that pantry now. And while the kills aren't coming out, you know that these last 3 seconds, they are going to be huge.
Yeah, and I mean, they're completely rotating. Hollow doesn't have as much time as he'd like, and they're just completely, like, there's no information. He's just going to have to hop in blind. That drone does come in. He is aware of this player's position. He misses the C4, but they're going to have to just sprint into sight. The Ionic goes down, and that's Case, and the Fuse just locked out of sight. He does get the kill on the player off site, but these castle barricades are coming in. They are going to lock Wayne State out of sight, and that is another defensive round win. And I mean, I just don't understand. First of all, you don't have the IQ to really help you take this vertical control. You don't have any soft breach upstairs. And if you're going to go for that kind of a direct take, why is hard breach not on the board? Why are you not taking an ace to get that pantry wall open? Why are you relying on just running through a singular doorway to just take over sight? It doesn't really make that much sense to me.
Yeah, I want to add on a few things. So, Wayne State, if you look at this for a bit of odgery, then, you know, there's something to consider. I mean, the six pick's gone. It's attack over repick, so you can spot that pulse and say, right, I want the IQ. I feel like Fuse, we needed to see a little bit more usage of that utility. It seemed like as soon as that Fuse charge got a kill, then they dropped down. They didn't really want to deal with it. They just came down, tried to push through those charges, through those castle barricades, and that's where we really start to slow things down. Obviously, these first couple of kills come through to even things out back to that 3-3 player levels playing field, but there wasn't very much soft destruction. So if you're going to go for that vert, I want to see a little bit more soft destruction, a bit more usage on those fuse charges. But obviously, this is only one round of 6. You know, there's still a lot of time for them to turn it around. Maybe it's just an off round. Looking over towards that Aviator Games, that is where we're going to be returning, and it is going to be a bit of a sore spot, I think, for Wayne State. They very, very close. They got the plant down. But yet again, I think it just comes down to these little nitty things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what the OSA is doing here. They're doing an across type of take, but Locke, once again, is trying to get really aggressive here, and information is starting to come in. He takes a little bit of damage, and he is just going to leave. A smart decision, to say the least. Takes a little bit of damage, though. Doesn't really do any himself, and the T'Chaka taking damage, I assume, peeking study window. A little bit of an interesting one, but that is also a pick coming out. That is the Jaeger getting taken out. Not a pick you want to give up that early in the round, but Wayne State making some really good progress early.
Yeah, Locked at the rim, though, is going to be able to find that refrag, takes away that pressure over towards that study side, and while Locked at the rim might not know it, that has just emptied up that second front. That's something, like I said, I've been going on about it constantly because I think it's so important. Now, Wayne State, they're going to have to push over towards that 90 window. and through landing. This is where I feel the Osa Shield's really going to come in. You use that Osa Shield to push up forward, and while we will see Embassy going to get aggressive, you could get that shield posted up on 90. You are exposed to C4s, but you can get a lot of pressure. Back at Bill now, though, going to take the gunfight. Isn't able to land the kills, trades a bit of damage, doesn't find the kill, but doesn't die. That's the important part. Half the round ticking down on the clock. Utility comes through, and 90 has been forfeited.
Yeah, I mean, and once again, he's just going to go for these little peeks through the drone hole. And once again, I'm not sure they're completely aware. They do, I believe, have the second EMPs, and they're just missing. I'm not sure he got it. He does get the vault wall open, but as we're saying that, there's absolutely no pressure on the opposite side of the map. They do have vault, but Baka Bill does get put down on the floor. Edgy taking a ton of damage. He's put down a 1 HP as well. And now one is in vault. Cade gonna get a little aggressive. He throws out a C4. It doesn't do any damage. And as I say that, there's another player coming down, but Bubba pushes up the 90 hallway. He gets one. He gets two. And as I'm saying that, Baka Bill does get also taken back up. It's a 2v3 on the side of attack. Locke gets a nice kill. He takes a second gunfight. Empressy down to 1 HP. He's on the right track, looking at the right angle. Locke smokes him. Platteville get a huge round on their defense and go up 3-1.
Platteville, more like Champville. Gonna let that hang a little bit.
Yeah,
right.
Beautiful play from them.
Yeah, no, I do really want to talk about the coordination that they had for that. I mean, Bubba, that was a beautiful push up towards that 90 position. Now, playing the refrag for Frosty, as soon as that air jab went off, yeah, understandably, Baka Bill turned around. That Osa turned around, was able to find that frag. And in doing so, well, Bubba, you just had an opening. I mean, they knew they got that one play. They didn't know the second one got aggressive on 90. Like you said in that first round, it's not a play you typically expect to get aggressive on that 90 in that situation. So Bubba thought, well, maybe I'll take control of it. Goes for that push. He's able to find the 2 frags. Not only the refrag, but another pick, and entirely neutralizes that 90 position. And that's what was so beautiful for me. Wayne State, they were doing everything right. They had the heart breach. They had the Osa bringing those EMPs to get that vault wall open. And they did, towards the start, have that player over towards Study. With one play, Bubba was able to cut down all of that, and in doing so, essentially gifted the team the round. At that point, well, you looked over towards Study Door and you said, well, that's not really going to work out. Embassy put in a very difficult position. That 90 play won the round. I'm going to say it.
It definitely did. I mean, Locke is also just playing out of his mind right now. You see him getting aggressive. You see what he wants to do. He's trying to get really aggressive. That Izami is maybe going to hurt them as well, but Frosty ends up dropping the hatch as well. Maybe trying to waste some time. Maybe make them think that there's somebody in Master when there isn't. Force out a couple drones. This brick setup as well is going to make it a little bit hard. It's going to stall them out. Like all the utility, handled over here on the side of Platteville. I actually really like that his Izami placement was a little bad, but overall this setup is gorgeous coming out of them. They're going to try and waste as much time as possible, but they do get that ace just a little bit on the wall. That head hole is there. It's going to create a little bit of a sight line, but maybe that helps out Locke. You see the way this guy's heating up. He's going to try and take these gunfights, and maybe you don't even want to open this kind of a, maybe this head hole, this line of sight, because this guy's just taking every gunfight he can.
Well, yeah, it's that very fast 3-speed DMR operator. You really want to get aggressive. You really want to take that mobility usage and take a line of sight just like the one that was gifted. Now, Embassy will nade out Astro. Locked to the room will be aware that this play is going to push through. Now, that with that ace wall, 2 fronts to consider, yes, but you still have the rest of your team in support. Pre-fires go through, the nade will follow, and Embassy goes for the swing. Very nicely done to displace that player. Opens up Astro, and now the defenders, some of these roamers will have to start coming back. Shield in use to cut off some of these lines of sight. So I'm liking the way that Wayne State is starting to use this utility. They're dealing with these EMPs to get rid of these problem areas they found, like the Aruni gates, like the shields, like the ADSs. But now, the droning, the flank drone, that's all going to be on display. Embassy doesn't notice the Jaeger down below. Hit it, but as Bubba's able to find a kill, is it going to be enough? Bubba's finding a second, popping off over towards that Study Door. And now, Terry Ballkeeper has to try and help out Baka Bill, who's in a very difficult spot. 1 C4, one swing could end this attack in its track. Terry Bull is able to find one. Backabill fires, doesn't land the shots, can't get the second kill. Gonna be a third for Bubba as they look for the fourth. Can't close it down, and now in the 2 versus 2, Empress C and Terry Bull, they have to make something happen, and they don't even know those Astro stairs are clear.
Yeah, I mean, there's information also coming out. I'm pretty sure they have the Astro default still up, if I'm incorrect. Starting to walk in, he gets the player down. I'm not sure he knows he is now fully aware, and that leaves Chetra in a 1v2, but he has some information. He hears the plant going down as well. Is getting put down on default. He's not going to be able to await. If he just swings out, he would have gotten the kill. He doesn't get it, but he makes it a 1v1. He has absolutely no idea where this last player is. He's looking the wrong direction, and now he is on the right track. He is looking close, and now both players should know where they are completely, but Empress is not looking the right direction at all. Jetro is not going to know, though, where this player is, and Jetro, looking master, he has no idea where the sledge is. The sledge is going to go for the swing. He's going to clutch it out. Wayne State with a great round win, but you got to think what would have happened if he just peeked a second earlier. The plant was right next to him. It's kind of a little agonizing, and I promise you, when he watches that back later, he's going to be kicking himself.
Yeah, but you can't really put yourself down. That was a very good effort bringing it down to that 1 versus 1. I feel
absolutely.
Slowing things down, the pace of the game, they really put Wayne State in that corner that they had to break out from. I feel like locked to the rim. Very well played over towards Astro, holding that position to the best of your ability, and I think Empress C just really stepped up in that round. Should be very pleased with how that played out. I mean, the nade comes through, pushes the player out position, goes for the swing as well. Then, I've got to be honest, looking towards that 1v1 at the very end with the plant being down, I would personally have put myself and would expect a player to be playing that master position. Out the window, you have a cam giving you that information. Obviously, Platteville, they were expecting it as well, so that's what they peaked, that's what Gerard was looking for. And with that being the case, it meant that Empress was able to get away with it. Very nicely played, very, very comfortable. And like you say, yeah, you'll be kicking yourself in that VOD review, but it's something to learn from. Sometimes things just don't entirely go your way. So what we are going to do is go back to a site where things did go their way. I mean, saw a couple of problems on the side of Platteville, but nothing too big. They slowed down the attackers last time they were on this site. They were able to find a couple of early picks to bring things back to that 3 versus 3. And then when time really mattered, they just killed the pace of the game. They stopped Wayne State in their tracks. On the flip side, though, to see a little bit more improvement, they have got that IQ. And Hollow is going to be making that 5-5-2 sing. Finds that first kill, locked to the rim, taken off the board already. If you don't bring that DMR lock, you're not going to be getting anything. Now, the Pulse, though, might be having a little bit of a difficult time. They know that there's the Pulse on the board. And while the pings does come through, it's only going to be a matter of time before you realize they know where you are.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not a pick you want to give up. They do bring the IQ this time, which is definitely good, but I want to see the C4 come out sooner rather than later. They have this information and they're not really acting on it, and when you wait a little bit too long, it's not going to be good, but this nade from Empress does go out. He's not going to do any damage with it, but you have 2 C4s on the side of Platteville, and they're not using them right now, and like I said, you don't want to wait too long. This IQ is on the board. You want to throw out these C4 sooner rather than later. You have the fuse, and you're just letting him do all this work upstairs without throwing a single one of your C4s. You have 2 of them. You have the C4. Let's get a little active. But on the side of Wayne State, they are taking a lot better than they did last time. I did note they didn't take above at all. And right now, they are taking this vertical control. They're taking the control that is given to them, and clearly, they are doing a lot of damage upstairs.
Yeah, I do want to say that their takes have been a lot smoother, a lot more coordinated. Empress C able to find that next pick through the vertical play will take away Frosty and opens up massive things. Now, refrag will come through from Bubba, but as Hollow's able to find his second kill in this round, things are going to get just that little bit more difficult for the defensive side. Now, second front will be taken through as Backabill and Hollow both push that side. Now, Jetro, you have to look for the kill on Fuse. You get it, but the plant's going. And the player's already on site. You now have to rely on that vertical play. Jab's going down, going to make every second count. and the exact specific planning of your route is going to be even more important. The post plant comes through, the air jab goes off, the defense, well, doesn't look great. You spot the player upstairs. You've got to look for the cam. You know that they're there, but are you going to be able to find them? Do you play for the diffuser? You're going to have to. You do not have the time to go for the hunt. Able to find that player eventually, though. That will give you that vertical pressure relieved when you go for the site, but time's ticking. 7 seconds have to be on that clock when you hit that diffuser, and right now it's not looking good. It's like a repeat of the first round with the defenders stuck at the position of the attack, and, well, it looks like Wayne State, they're going to be evening things up.
They are, and I mean, you noted it yourself. That take was a lot more coordinated. You do love to see that. The 2 rounds that they had won before, for the most part, were based, off the back of big plays that were made. And Platteville, I mean, realistically should be up 5-1. There is a lot of positives for them to take from that. Like, there's multiple ways you can look at it. This obviously could be 5-1, but at the end of the day, you're looking at yourselves and you're like, look, guys, Wayne State, they need these big plays. We're kind of making a couple mistakes. If we clean up these minor mistakes real quick, limit the opportunities that Wayne State has to make these giant plays, we're beating these guys, And on the side of Wayne State, that last round was a lot of upside for them. And at the end of the day, they go into their defenses. They get a pretty decent split. I'd say 3-3 on Villa is pretty standard. So you go into your defensive side thinking to yourself, look, our guns are kind of hot. We're playing pretty well together, given that last round. Gotta be flowing on the side of Wayne State right now.
Well, yeah, they're playing off the back of 2 attacking rounds on the trot, and they're doing so well now. They're in a position where they're going onto the defense. They're going onto what typically I feel is the favored side on this map, although the stats say it's a bit more 50-50 than that. But I feel like Wayne State, they put themselves in a very good position. I do want to give them one credit to their playing style, although they might just slip up a little bit over towards the start of these rounds. Well, they start to pick things up later. They have those adjustments. They're able to just weather it in, or maybe it was a case of warming up. Who knows? Wayne State, they're firing on all cylinders. Platteville, they still have that 3-3 scoreline. They're not in the thick of it just yet. They do have the attacking side to go, and right now they do have Embassy to deal with over towards that study side. We're back out, no casualties, but it just means so that they can play very, very aggressive.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of starting off this round, not too much going on at the moment, but you see Platteville going for a very aggressive main take. If you're really thinking about it, you have a Lion, you have a Dokkaebi. They don't want to do too much droning. That's kind of how that normally works. Wayne State isn't fully aware of this either. You have a couple players lurking on the opposite side of the map, and they're just going to watch this red push, the Thermite of Bubba, making sure he can do some droning, making sure to try and clear out, and Frosty on a pretty good angle here to be able to watch the 90 haul. He is, as I say that, of course, going to hop off the angle, and he's going to take that control down the stairs. You do have, he is the only set of nades, which isn't something fantastic, but if they can get some information on the site, which is looking like they're going to do, maybe he's going to try and, play some nades below, and Jetro is already making his way up. They don't know he's making this move. He's going to get the opening kill of the round, and top main was completely deserted, and Robo gets another kill, a 5v3 out of nowhere. And that right there is where the Lion and the Dokkaebi come in pretty well. The Sledge is just going to open up this wall. They can already get in if they like, and I don't know why they would open this wall if they already have it open. They have this 5v3. They just got to start playing together here. The first nade comes in. Hollow does get a pick back. Empress gets one back as well. It's a 3v3. He's going to get some healing done. And Platteville, they did so well at the beginning of this round, but that's step one. Step two, they have to find their way to be able to get into this site. A lot of damage being done on Edgy from the side of Bubba. And I mean, to be honest, they just have to try and find a way to get in. And this Zofia is going to look to make his way up the red stairs. And I'm not quite sure that Wayne State is fully aware of this play. They still have the Lion. That is his last one. And Hollow is now aware they do have a drone on him, but Bubba ends up putting down to the ground. That 1v1 is won by Hollow. Robo, that's all on his own. He is going to get his teammate up, but they have the shots. Try and run in. That C4 does a lot of damage, and they're just not working in. Edgy, Empressy get the 2 kills to clean up the round, and Platteville, from a round that looked like it was so heavy in their favor, can't find their way into sight, and Wayne State take the round.
Yes, a very beautiful close down for Wayne State there. I want to talk about that in red stairs, like you said. I looked over towards that red stairs, and I saw Hollow push up and wasn't able to catch Jetrow going for that push over towards Study and going for the peek on Bookcase. That was the big thing for me. I feel like Platteville, if you're going for that Study main stairs take, you need to get that bookshelf control quickly. And while you did, you were able to find that pick. Immediately, you've got to turn your eyes over towards that 90 position. I'd say next time you attack that site, if you're going for that take, get a player on the window. It gives Jetrow that little bit more support. And while it does give the name of the game away a little bit, then it stops that swing cut from coming through. You can get aggressive on the stairs. You can get maybe more than one pick. You can get an entrance onto site. And you can cut down the big problem at the end of the round there, which was the fact that Edgy was able to shoot through that wall, through the lines of sight that was made, and cut them down at the very end of that round, closing things out. Red stairs, I feel like, yeah, Frosty had to go for that position. But if you go up those stairs, you're able to push towards that 90 position. You take that position, there's an in onto site like I've just explained. Or at least you can cover Study. You can help your team get aggressive and go for these picks, go for this site execute. But Wayne State, like you say, very, very well done. They realized, okay, well, they need to take this position. That's what they're going to do. Let's cover it. Hollow, keep an eye on that for now. Whether it be cams, intel, or game sense, who knows? Right now, though, Hollow is looking to get a little bit cheeky. We'll not be able to find that opening pick, but in doing so, we'll give Platteville a very strong statement of intent. We are here to play. We are looking to catch you off guard. And most importantly, we think we can get away with it. Wait, no. We know we can get away with it. They will be backing off. Don't want to try their luck too much, Hollow, but in doing so, you still make Platteville have to check every little corner. They don't know where you're going to be because they haven't seen you just yet.
Yeah, I mean, I also want to highlight something they did. They switched off the Thermite to an Ace, which is something I was going to make a comment about the last round as well. Having that ranged hard breach, for instance, that Thermite, he couldn't get that bar wall open because he'd have to sit his face in front of a wide open hole. So if you have that ranged hard breach, you can get this wall open without really truly having to expose yourself too much. And that's definitely going to help them a lot more because they had that control. They just weren't able to get too much out of it just because of that certain operator selection. But they have 2 players lurking on this other side of the map, and I'm not sure Wayne State is aware of this. None of the players are really looking, and as I say that, Terry Bull Keller, he's aware. He knows. There's nothing you could do to sneak past him, but I'm not sure they know there's a second player. Jetrow is trying to maybe work a pick back. I'd like to see him come up the stairs and help his teammate maybe. I'm not sure they know he's down. And that's a great nade, but it's not going to do any damage. Oh. He runs into a frost mat, and effectively we're looking at a 5v2. Sorry, not 4v2. And you see Robo and Bubba just by themselves. They're going to try and have to do what they can to get their teammates up. Bubba now alone. If Wayne State can figure this out, maybe they can get a little aggressive here. Terry still doesn't know that he's down the player, but Baka Bill has heard the line charge. Such unfortunate timing. And those 2 downed kills are going to go in their favor. And Bubba left on his lonesome to fight his demons.
Yeah, gonna be stuck outside this master bedroom. 30 seconds left on the clock, and realistically, you're going to want to talk about what went wrong there, how you're going to deal with it next time, and then in the last 5 seconds, you go for a push, you take some of these gunfights, why not? You might as well. Worst thing you can do is lose the round. That's exactly what's going to happen. Edgy, you're going to finish things off. Now, the big thing for me is there wasn't much pressure over towards that player in Trophy when this 90 push came through. Now, that can be due to a couple of reasons. Maybe there wasn't that Master presence. Maybe there wasn't that Astro pressure being applied. If you put that pressure on Astro, that player over towards Trophy is going to feel a lot less comfortable, a lot less focused over towards that 90 position if you're careful, if you're quiet, maybe if you're playing the knock over towards that door. That was a big thing for me, was, like you said, they were just happy to hold that position. Terry Bull did not have to worry about any other angles, any other pushes that might come through, any up nades coming through at all. It's very comfortable, able to hold that door in their lane, flourishing. Platteville, maybe what I want to see from that, like I said, is have that second player maybe just over towards Wolf, starting to put pressure on landing, so at least you're making Wayne State feel like it's a much bigger thing than it is.
Yeah, I mean, the way that these attacks are kind of coming out is it feels like they're relying on these lurks, and they're coming out a little early. These lurks are kind of, you know, they're applying this pressure on that side of the map before they really even get a foothold in Master. So you want to see these players kind of help you clear out Master, because, you know, even if those lurks, they get those kills, they still need to get themselves into Master. So, you know, maybe helping their teammates out a little bit at the beginning of the round and then going for that kind of a lurk so they have real pressure on multiple parts of the map would be a little bit better. You see all 5 of them now, as I'm saying that, beautifully, all 5 together. They're going to all try and take this top side of the map, play a little bit together, and that is what was missing the first couple of rounds, and I'm glad to see that they've made that adjustment.
Yeah, now, one thing I do want to point out, normally when you see a push like this, you do see teams having a 3-2 split on the push. They will have the player over towards Master, but that would normally be a hard breacher. There is no hard breacher on the team. As such, Wayne State, they're going to have to deal with the full force of Platteville. And while Holo's able to find one, you know where this player is. Trilu can push up. Holo isn't able to find that second kill. And Lock to the Rim closes things out. Now, you do find Buck. That is a big frag off the board. They can't just drop down below and do vertical play. But Fuse is still there. They still have that sledge. That vert play isn't over just yet. Now, look at towards his position, Wayne State. You want to hold this top floor as long as possible. Have a player Master, have a player in Astro. You can lock that down very, very comfortably for the next minute or so. Right now, though, it's just going to be Terry Bull looking for this gunfight over the Wolf again. Isn't able to land those shots. Is going to be taken down, and with that, Platteville, they might not know it. They're going to have that top floor control. The vert play can begin. They can start looking towards the side. 1 player advantage. This isn't a bad spot to be in.
No, absolutely not, especially having this top floor control. You do, however, have 2 C4s on the side of Wayne State. One of them is going to go up and miss, not do any damage. Not something you want to see from that utility, but the second one goes out and he does get a down. There isn't a way for them to be able to confirm this kill, but the damage has kind of been done. Jetro's going to be down to 20 HP, and they're still doing this vertical, you know, vertical pressure. They're going to be fusing, and Empressy is going to get really aggressive here to try and maybe work a pick. And you see Locke giving up that laundry position, and it looks like they're going to try and go through kitchen here for this execute. They're not sure that he's there. That's definitely a good thing. But now you look at all the 3 players upstairs. There's only 30 seconds left on the round. They're going to have to make some sort of a play to sight. And Locke does not get that kill. And you still have players upstairs trying to make something work. And it's just
15 seconds to go.
That pressure was a little bit too early. They waited a little bit too long. Empressy gets that kill on Laundry, I believe it was. And they're going to have to work their way through the Goyo. Robo gets a nice kill, but he does die to that fire. And now a 1v2 for Bubba. He just does no time, and the round is going to Wayne State. It looked so good, McCready. It did. They just took way too long to make a move towards sight, and that really hurt them in the end.
Yeah, I feel like that was a big problem. They had that overwhelming firepower on the roam clear, and while they did get that kill, it was well done. They were able to clear out that second position, but they took a while with it. And that's where I feel Wayne State really well won that round, was the time wasting. Because just by having Terry Bull up in that position, they're still thinking, well, there might be more. We still have to check it all out before we start our vertical play. Big problem then is obviously the Buck's been taken out already, so you don't have that ranged vertical self-destruction. You have to get Sledge, you have to get Jet Brow there. And that horribly exposes them to Wayne State. They did very well getting them down. There's a nice deposit in HP for later. Ultimately, though, towards the end of that round, I am looking over towards the positioning of Wayne State. That was very well played. They had, yes, they did have Empressy get out of position just to have that laundry hold that little bit better. But I feel like that was calculated. You still had Backup Bill playing kitchen. You still had them watching the pantry. And if need be, would be able to swing over towards Memorial as well. Gunfights, they won them. You can't really say any more about that, other than well done. And I think, yeah, it was a time. It's exactly like we saw the first time Wayne State had to attack that site. And chances are we might have to see it again. Wayne State now on match point, taking the very first map of this best of 3 series. Platteville, this is their map pick, I do want to add. So Wayne State looking towards border, probably expecting this to be the hard work. Go to border, that's comfort. That's what we know. We're happy taking them to them, obviously, because we are. So let's close it out. Let's make it a swift 2-0. Obviously, Platteville wanting to make sure that this doesn't happen. They have 3 rounds to make sure of that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, all of these attacks have looked pretty decent. I mean, you look at all 3, and Platteville had somewhat an advantage in all 3. Maybe not the trophy round. Kind of lying to people for no reason, saying they had that. But they have a lot of control already. You look at them, they have everybody red side, and that's a gunfight early, and he's just not looking at study. That's not something you want to see, and that's the first pick going to the side of Wayne State. A huge first pick as they're looking to close out this round, but it's a little interesting. You see Terry looking towards Maine when they have this full information. But at the end of the day, Wayne State looking absolutely great and looking to get themselves in a map 2.
Yeah, very good opening pick there. Stalls out the momentum for Platteville. Now, with half the round left on the clock and Wayne State knowing exactly where they are, they're going to have to go for that Vault and Zombie push. Doing so, this means Hollow can get aggressive like we saw on the flip side of the rounds and just hold steady. Hollow, hold your position. It's a very good position to hold. For example, you can get aggressive. You can hold this angle with Terry. And in doing so, as that Doherty scan will go off, you know the push is going to come. You're not going to be able to spot the player. Some damage goes down into Frosty. With a minute left, this push has to follow quickly. Lock to the window. Beautifully lethal with the DMR. Is able to find Hollow. Opens things up. Bubba finds a second, but Terry's on no answer with another kill of their own. And 55 seconds ticking down on that clock. Back up Bill going onto the flank. They're aware as Frosty closes things down, and the push down bookshelf is going to have to take place. Whether they go through Vault or through Book Game Store, well, it's going to have to happen now. They start moving through the shield, giving Frosty the cover that's needed, but doesn't deploy in time. Terry's going to be able to close things there, and the 2v2 situation means the split push has to come through. 30 seconds from border, 30 seconds from that all-important map 1. Terry Paul Keller going to take it down by Bubba, and now it's all down to Edgy.
He does have this C4 as well, and all they need to do is double stack on the door, and that's exactly what they're going to do. The bomb is going down. He has the opportunity to win this round with the C4. Does he shoot it? He misses the C4. The bomb goes down, and now they have a 2v1 post plant, and Edgy is going to have a lot of work to do to try and make this work. He's going to try and get maybe a pick. No, he's going to force their hand. He's going to force at least one of them to push up. And Bubba's on the first duty. He knows one's pushing him. He ends up swinging. He ends up getting the kill. Not a lot of time. He's going to check for the second one. The Lion here is going to have to make an audio cue. I'm sure the Cade just heard that. I'm not completely positive. Yes, he is. Robo in a 1v1. The Cade taking some damage. They're both on 1 HP. He's going to have to stick this. And the running comes in. He gets the kill. And Platteville keep themselves alive in this map. Well played 2v1 for the most part. That's what you love to see coming out of them. But Wayne State, that C4 so close to hitting. And what a C4 that would have been.
That could have ended everything right in their tracks to Platteville. The push was good. They got those couple of extra picks to speed things up and get that entry into Vault, get that entry into sight. But then the C4 came through. It could have ended it all, and it didn't. But you've got to give all the credit to Edgy. They played it very, very well. Played it the best you could. Went for that defuse, like you said, forced the hand of the attackers. They had to push that player forward, and in doing so, then, well, Edgy, such a good position to be in. You've just given yourself a 1 versus 1 rather than a 2 versus 1. I feel like that rotate through to Vault was very good. I was very much a fan of it because, like you said, that audio cue comes through. It's a much tougher angle for you to instinctively react upon, and I don't know, I feel like it's one you wouldn't expect as much. We saw Edgy could have gone for the defuse quite a bit, but during that time, well, they were rotating. They had time to rotate because Edgy, very busy trying to look out for this refrag, and in doing so, that could have ended the round, but it didn't. So very, very well played to Platteville. I want to see more of it, but the thing is, though, we are going to have to see some of those improvements, Joe. I mean, that second front, maybe that Astro pressure, maybe that pressure over towards Red Stairs alongside 90. If we see that, I feel like Platteville, they have a really good chance of keeping in this and getting that score difference just down to 1 round.
Yeah, they are changing their approach completely. They're actually not messing with this Master Balk in any way, shape, or form. They are going for a full across take, and that's going to be great. They are completely given this control on the side of the map, but at the end of the day, you're still going to need Bubba to hop out on that other side and try and get some master control. They're not really going to be able to go in for this execute at all without any master control. So I assume they're going to, have all these people here and maybe go for a rotation. I hope they go for that rotation. These Goyos are once again placed down. They are going to try and stall best they can, but look at this. The control is taken so quickly. They realize where the control is being given. That's what they did last round. That's what they're doing now. And he does see the player. He gets the opening pick. And Platteville, once again, that's a huge pick. And the second one goes their way. And now you really want to see them take a step back, slow it down. You have so much time. You have the man advantage. Get the control that you need and get ready for this execute. Because right now, they are on the front foot. They have the momentum. They just won a round, and at any point, they could really send this to OT, realistically.
Yeah, a huge round as well. Keeping Wayne State in this game, keeping them in the palm of their hands, and right now, they're doing everything they need to do. They're getting that multiple angles of attack. They're having that cover that they need over towards the 90 side, and now Embassy does have to worry about a number of angles. Frosty pushing in will put pressure on the master bedroom player. Will not find the kill, but doesn't need to right now. The C4, though, will take it off. Takes the C4, the diffuser onto the floor. And while Bubba does have a refrag, a 2 versus 4 situation, the writing isn't on the wall just yet. The defenders have a lot of work to do with Embassy downstairs without that C4. You've got to make the rotate up, but red stairs, they're going to know. Leaving Edgy, yet again, the defender side all by themselves. The push taking time, like you said. They have time to drone, they have time to check, they have time to probably get Lock the Rim up if they so desire, but with the positioning of these players, they're probably not going to want to. 3 versus 2, 30 seconds left, it's going to explode, and as the drone comes through, it looks like Edgy might have to face the music right now, and while Bubba's going to be the one to take the kill, though, takes off it. Takes them off by Embassy as Jetrail finds the answer, and I find where I was. Robo starts to get the plant down. Embassy down below all by themselves. Has to try and stop it. If you can do that, you can close things out, but that timer is going to be reset in Embassy. Got 10 kills. You're going to have to make it 13 with 7 seconds left. Time ticking down, Joe. It's not looking good.
No, absolutely not. And Platteville just looking pretty good at the moment. I love seeing this, but Embassy, as I'm saying that, he made it a 1v1, I believe it was, and just makes it so close. I actually think I kind of lied. I'm pretty sure he got made up. But, wow. We send ourselves to a round 12. Platteville looking to send us to OT. We are just so close to it, and they are looking a lot better right there. I would have loved to see Embassy come up and help his teammate after he got that C4, because leaving him up on site by himself to just fend off everybody is not something great. And another thing on Wayne State, they're getting the, not the shakes. I don't really know what the word is where you can't stand still. Sometimes you just got to stand still, hold an angle, and wait for the other team to make a move. Because at the end of the day, Platteville, they weren't really doing too much to be able to get into sight. They were struggling. They were struggling to make their way into statue. They were struggling to make their way into trophy. They obviously didn't have any master control. That Dokkaebi was the one responsible for doing that, and she ended up getting, locked into a cross mat. So Wayne State giving away a few too many picks there, and maybe if they stand still, hold these angles, we're not having this conversation right now, and we're, getting ready to send ourselves to border.
Yes, but that isn't going to be the case, at least not for one more round, and potentially another couple. Big thing for me, looking towards Platteville, they're a very momentum-based team. They have the line of Dokkaebi, they've been mainstays on that lineup, and they've been used very regularly with their gadgets, and I feel like as Lock to the Rim, going to be able to find that opening pick. That is an absolute nightmare. And that's going to be the Malusi taken off the board. This was an operator I was actually thinking I wanted to see a bit of. Slow down these players, slow down the aggression that Platteville are able to bring to the board. I mean, this has put them right back in the driver's seat. And in doing so, the momentum has shifted, just like we saw in that first half. And, well, looks like it's set to continue for another round.
Yeah, they definitely are getting a feel for each other. They have a better idea of how these defenses are being set up. So they're looking at this a little bit better, and they have cleared this opposite side again. And you're liking this. You're really liking this. Locke once again, he gets that opening pick. Now, not only are you in the man up situation, you have your Lions, you have your Dokkaebi calls, you have your nades, you have all your ace charges, you have so much utility to work with, and I just want to see them make it work. They're not really doing too much lurking. They're kind of just all coming in from one direction, and I need to see somebody go outside. Master Falcon, I'm basically saying that, and it looks like Locke is making that rotation right now. I'm hopefully looking for a second player to do that, so he has a little bit of help. Having 4 players over here is not necessarily going to be too helpful for them. There's only so many angles you can watch, and as we can see from the silhouettes, we do see that there is a player in Master, and you're looking at the side of Wisconsin Platteville. You're gonna have to do something about it, and Baka Bill so close to being taken down, and Locke isn't fully aware that Edgy is there for the help. Empressy not only throws a C4, he accidentally detonates a Goyo and gets rid of a Malusi. Not the best use of utility. Locke does get that master kill. Maybe not aware of this player, and the fire gets him so close. He has the triple wall holes as well. All he has to do is sit here and hold it. That last Dokkaebi call goes in as well, and they have all the control that they need. All they have to do is just put the bomb down on the stat door. They're not fully aware. They don't have this information. They're going to drone this out one last time. You have the player below to make sure that they don't, have that C4 from below. They have no way of denying this plant besides their guns. This Dokkaebi is going to try and just hold the master control. Jetro does go down. All they have to do is just put the bomb down statue door, and 3 kills go their way. I don't know how that happened, but Empressy ends up going down. Bubba runs through 2 of Runegates, and now it's a 2v1. They get it down. Edgy just has to find a way to deny this plant, but Bubba's watching the cross. He doesn't know, and we are going to overtime. It got really scary there for the side of Wisconsin Platteville, but they find a way to bring it back and win the attack round and send us to overtime.
Yes, they do, and in doing so, they keep us in this game, and what a round it was. Oh, boy. Able to find those frags over towards 90. They took their time. They realized, okay, well, they have brought operators to slow us down. We're going to have to deal with this, and I feel like Wayne State, they did very, very well in the situations they found themselves in. It just came down to that last 30 seconds with Platteville. They had that little bit extra. When you look at that position, when, Baka Bill was playing over towards Master, you had Locke nearby, looking to put that pressure, looking to get that kill over towards Bathroom. Wasn't able to find it, and didn't really want to peek it. In doing so, it meant Edgy was able to cover that for Baka. Baka could cover that angle onto that statue door until the rotate comes through. But by that point, that's a good 10-20 seconds. The defenders had time to rotate. Unfortunately, the round didn't go their way, but fortunately for us, Joe, we are going to be going to overtime, like you say. Platteville finding themselves on the defense for the first time in quite a few rounds. And in doing so, they are putting themselves where, if we look towards this game, we've seen the advantage being on the defensive side. Wayne State, I want to see that aggression that we saw in the first half of the game come back. I really want to see them being able to just get this aggression onto the board. They, taking a page out of their own book, they brought out that Ursa yet again. Edgy, I want to see these air jabs having that little bit more impact. Just get those staircases covered. But it's the opening pick I want to see first. Lock to the rim will get spotted out. The player on the Astro stairs will be taken down. Lock to the rim. You are here to play. And here to play seriously. Able to find one. Looking for a second. As the drone comes through, you can just back off. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to find a second. And as that diffuser gets picked off, now you back off. Now you play it safe. Platteville very much in the lead in this first round of OT.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of want to go back to your point. Well, first of all, Lock to the rim. We talked about it earlier. This guy on defense just looks so comfortable taking these aggressive gunfights. But going back to the Nomad point, I'm not going to lie. The way that I see it, and it should be played more at that high level of Siege, it's kind of come down to that point where she's not really a flank watch operator anymore. It's not great to really put it on these staircases just because it can be shot. You don't really have the audio. You're not really playing that information. And they could really just, shoot the air jab and just leave. Whereas it's more of a swing denial in a way. And Locke does not come away with the kill. Empress gets a big one back, but the Nomads, you throw one on 90, you throw one on Brick Door, you make sure you put these Nomads in these places so that you don't have to worry about certain pushes rather than flanks. Or if you have, drones on your flanks, it's a little bit easier because, sometimes they might be flanking, they don't see your cam, and they, aren't completely sure. And Hollow comes out with 2 huge kills, but Jetro gets one back. We are in a 2v2. Jetro not completely sure of the positions of these players, but Wayne State coming up huge to be able to make this happen. That C4 is going to go out. It's not going to get the kill. And McCready, this just got very close.
Oh, and it does, as Hollow's just on ADS's at the wrong time. Taken down by Jetrow, who has found their double-digit kill. And now it's all down to Empress. They have the information, they know the player's there, but the C4's off the board. Frag grenade goes down, the rotate will come through to get that diffuser as Jetrow finishes off Hollow. 30 seconds left, pressure's gonna have to be applied. The gunfire comes out, they know where you're playing. They're gonna have the footholds onto you. You're gonna have to opt for zombie. In doing so, give yourself the robo, take that TCSG, and the crossfire that's given to Jetrow. So the push comes through, the pre-fire's gonna have to follow. Empress playing it very, very careful, has to move in. There's no time for scarcity. There's no time for practice or caution. You're going to have to push in. Firing those bullets off, looks at the TCSG, doesn't spot the player in bold. Gonna be taken down by Robo. And that's going to be match point overtime for the side of Platteville. In doing so, they're giving themselves a badly needed return to the lead. And by doing it, by putting themselves 1 point ahead of Wayne State, and that 1 point might be all they need. Their attacks start to step up quite a bit in the second half of the attacking round. And, well, Wayne State, they've started to slip a little bit, haven't they?
They have, but I do want to make a comment about Platteville. It did start to get a little scary. They had that man advantage and got a little too aggressive, allowed it to get evened up. Actually, they didn't end up losing man advantage at one point, but they kind of bring it back, realizing that 2v2, specifically in that 2v1, that you just got to bring it back, be patient. They didn't give away any picks there. They played it really passive. They played a great crossfire. They waited for the plant, and that's what they should have been doing earlier. And, we talked about it on their defenses. I said it earlier. If they did that, basically exactly what they did right there, they could have been up 5-1 on their defenses and closed this game out a lot earlier. And, you see them learn from their mistakes. They make that adjustment, which is something, Wayne State hasn't really done as well as Platteville has in this game. And that's where we're seeing the difference in the score right now. And that's where we're seeing the difference of, the play style where Platteville is, it feels like the rounds that Platteville are winning are a lot more, I don't want to say deserving, but it looks like better siege. Whereas Wayne State has relied upon a lot of big plays to be able to make this stuff happen. And that's just allowed Platteville to get the advantage in this map.
That's the thing, yeah, the consistency. That's going to always edge it out over those big plays. And Platteville, like you said, they've had it. Wayne State, they've had high highs, but they've also had a little bit of low lows. And they're going to be returning to this trophy site. And they have lost the defense on trophy twice. I'm not entirely sure why they want to pull back to it. I'm not sure what they feel like they can do differently. It's something that they haven't done this round, which they did last time, was lose that player on the entry. That's definitely an improvement already. They don't have to worry about losing Hollow. They're one of their top fraggers. In fact, Hollow's able to find that opening pick. The Legion gets the pick. Should just pull back. Doesn't need to do anything else. But for time's sake, you can just waste it. You can just hold that position. You can force them to deal with you. Be a problem. Or you can lurk and be that problem later in the round. Something I feel like Wayne State might actually need quite a bit. Like you said, they rely on these big plays, and changing up the play style right now isn't going to do anything for them. Hollow, you might just be exactly what Wayne State need to keep in it right now. Platteville, they're getting this crossfire that we've talked about in. They're getting these Osa shields pushed up right where they need to be, half the round left. And they're getting all these final pieces in position ready for this attack.
Yeah, I mean, Jetro is definitely a big player. He's been making a lot of things happen. And, we were actually just typing about it. Wayne State, why go back to trophy after you just lost it twice in a row? That right there is the reason why they made that adjustment. Hollow gets that opening pick. It'd be one thing if they went back to trophy and played it the exact same way, but this time you have Hollow on the lurk. He knows exactly what attack they're going to do. He knows he's positioned. Bubba knows he pushed up the red stairs. They do get one back. He gets a little too antsy. And Locke, once again, it's gonna be on him to make this play. On the master side, they need to make something happen. They need one more kill, but whether they know it or not, Locke does have this master control that they so need, which for the most part they have. And Bubba does get a huge kill. That's the stat player. Now, Dokkaebi, all he has to do is watch the cross. These triple wall holes allow them to be able to see the cross. Bubba makes his way into sight. All he has to do is put the bomb down. He's putting it down on default. These players, he has a C4, but that is going to miss. The bomb goes down. They have the master control. They know where both these players are. Terry takes some damage. Empressy just trying his best to see what he can do. He's going to have to try and push Bathroom. This player of Dokkaebi has walked in. He ends up getting the down. That's a big kill. Bubba by himself, but Frosty MC left on his own to try and win this map, and he gets taken down. Platteville find a way to work their way back into the map. They come back from 6-3 down, win 5 straight rounds, 5 straight, to end up edging themselves and take map 1 as the underdogs. Platteville, win your map 1.
Yes, very beautifully done coming out from them in that final round. Very, very well played. I feel like it was that cross that you were talking about. You had the player over towards that master bedroom, covering that split. In doing so, it forced Empressy down into that prone position for the C4, which then missed. Something Empressy just hasn't had a lot of luck with on that site at all, is those C4 plant denials. But then, yeah, even though Locke did go aggressive, did try and take out Empressy, it didn't really matter too much. The plant had gone down, these players had pulled back to the post-plant positions. It's very well played. They didn't have any more C4s or impact nades to get aggressive with. Very, very well played from Hollow, though. Like you said, it was a very good way to hold that position. Like you said, they knew they'd come again. Hollow able to find 2 kills while you did fall. You did really well for it. You got those 2 picks. I'd say next time, get that second kill and back up. You have done exactly what you need to do. Even if you just played the bottom of red stairs rather than the top, you're wasting more time. It's very, very well done from both teams. But like you said, Platteville, I feel like their consistency was just a little bit there, and that's where they were really able to creep it out.
Yeah, I mean, Wayne State, they made those adjustments. I did say you made that point as well. The adjustment was fantastic, to be honest, but like I said earlier, it was the same thing that Platteville was doing, and both teams kind of had that issue. Platteville was the one that fixed it, and that's ended up being the difference maker. These late rounds, you get these advantages, you get the man advantage, you get your control. You just got to chill, hold your angles, use your man advantage, play trades, play crosses, play that style of siege. They gave away 3 picks, just gifted back to the side of Platteville when they had a 5v3 advantage. And that's just not something you can really afford to do when you work so hard to make all these adjustments to get these man advantages. You do great, but you just got to peel it back, because that's a round they really fully deserve to win. They did all the hard parts, and then they just give a few picks back, and they end up losing the round and the map.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the way that it goes, but that is Platteville's map. And, well, like you said, Wayne State, they were relying on some big plays. They were relying on being able to just catch them off guard, have some of these roamers coming in and have a huge impact in the round. And, well, our second map kind of plays into that little bit better. So we are going to be taking a short break, and then we'll be jumping back to you with a very exciting round of Border, if I do say so myself. So don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everybody. We do have an absolutely great series on our hand. If you missed map 1, we had a little bit of an upset. Wisconsin-Platteville did take map 1 8-6. That was their map pick. We are heading to Border, which is Wayne State's, but this is exactly the series we were looking for.
Yeah, I mean, we saw very aggressive plays coming out from both sides, and most importantly, managed in areas that, well, yeah, they left a little bit of room for improvement, but I feel like both teams really started to warm up and they started to develop upon it. Border, it's a map that very much favors this aggressive style of play, and when you look towards maybe Platteville, when they bring operators to support that, it makes me very, very excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, both teams kind of have this really aggressive play style, and the way that you see Border played for the most part is you get really aggressive on entry points. You know, you don't want them really to get too much of a foothold inside of the map. And both teams, I mean, we've seen this on Villa, which is not necessarily a map you always truly see it on. That aggression early round is just going to be super amplified on Border, hopefully, as long as these teams know how to play this map. But if Wayne State picked it, I would assume they do know how to play it. So, you know, you want to see that aggression. And, you know, saying all that, this could make it for a really exciting map too.
Yeah, I do want to say, though, Championship Division, neither of these teams are bad. I mean, they're the opposite, actually, in that top division when it comes to this championship. And you're looking at it, and, well, these teams should know how to play Border. I mean, granted, it's not been in the map pool for as long, but it's a map that they should know regardless. Osa coming through, a lock to the rim, not very happy about it. But, you know, the DMRs are still on the board there, Joe, so you can't complain too much.
They did go a little crazy in the with those DMRs early last game. I mean, just the plays that were being made with it. Those DMRs are so super powerful on defense. I mean, even on offense, I suppose. But you know, you love to see it. The Falcon does come off the board this time. That was an operator that was used to pretty decent use, I guess you could say. Pretty good, pretty decent effectiveness. That's the word. I got there. But they did ban Smoke again. I wish I knew more about these players to understand who they're targeting, because Smoke is definitely a crazy auto ban to have.
I think it comes down to the composition we see from Platteville. When we look at that last map, we saw a very aggressive play style. They wanted to get in very quickly. They wanted the player of Zafir to push in very quickly. They wanted Jet Route in. They wanted Lion Dockerby feeding that information, forcing these players in one spot. And the Smoke, that can neuter it all. That can cancel an entire push, a ton of utility getting wasted because of it. I feel like that's where we're seeing this Smoke ban come through. As such, Platteville, they're more than happy to bring the Tachanka like we've seen before. This time, though, that's not going to happen. We're going to go over towards Armory. We're going to see a very typical setup so far. I do want to see where they stand in terms of extension. Do they want to play Office, or do they want to go for the more default CC hold?
I mean, you kind of have to do both, to be honest, on this map. You want to make those head holes on that break wall, so you kind of have that long angle from Office. You can kind of contest that break walk-in while also holding, you know, you want to hold that horseshoe desk. You want to hold E-box. You want to do what you can to try and hold as much of this map as you can so that, you know, you don't really give too much control for free, because you can really extend yourself out in a plenty of, you know, parts on this map and not really get too punished for it. So, you know, you don't want to give up too many spots for free. And as I'm saying that, they are completely giving up CC. And Wayne State is going to see that, and they're just going to take that part of the map.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you kind of have to. You drone into CC, you look at it and say, well, it's empty. This is a really good place to start our push from. A lot of teams, they want CC. They want to have that control so they can push it aside. They can look it towards 90. They can look over towards East Main. It gives them a lot of map control very early on. And in doing so, well, it makes their life a lot easier. Hollow is going to be able to get that up nade. Will be able to find Boba, and in doing so, opens things up beautifully with that frag grenade. Something I very much enjoyed is seeing Hollow now finally being able to get a kill with an explosive from down below. Edgy looks over towards 90, looks to try and cut things off. Are they aware of the player pushing? Oh, the cap can of Frosty gets spotted, but doesn't get taken down. Gonna be able to retreat and stay alive for later in the round, Joe.
And, you know, right as you end up stop talking, Locke that DMR demon going back to it. And I mean, me personally, I see what he did on that, you know, map 1 with that DMR, and I get rid of it. There's no reason that guy should have that thing in his hands because he is absolutely lethal with it. But that main wall is open. They have a little bit of that leeway, and to be honest with you, they don't have much more control that they need to take. They just need to burn out some utility, watch a couple of swings, or if they want to, they could really just run in deep into sight if they'd like. Maybe take some control, but that is Edgy getting down. That is going to slow them down a little bit, which I believe was a Capcan. And now the Ace trying to make a couple of things happening, and this is just, you just got to see a little bit of control come in. They're just holding these angles. They have a minute left. It is a 4v4, and they are switching to an office, which I think has been given up completely. They can do this if they want. I'm not sure if they're gonna be able to do too much, though. They do have one ace charge left. However, nobody is on that cement side. All they need to do is get this wall open. Lock again comes up big, gets a kill, but this wall is open. It's not the wall you want to get open. You want to get that long angle open. Frosty swinging out, and Terry just not looking the right direction. He's gonna be taken down, and now another one goes down. They're not fully aware of this last player. Baka does get a kill, but he is left by himself. Locke gets his 3rd on the round. Beautiful play from them. And to be honest with you, McCready, it was a nice rotation, but they end up getting the wrong side of the wall open. They can't get that player out of back archives. And they end up, you know, it punishes them a lot there.
Yeah, I feel like the big play from Wayne State there was being unable to get that Capcan, being unable to get Frosty. As soon as that wall opens, I want to see that player putting the pressure. I want to see Becca Bill holding that long angle. That's why you're making it, to get rid of Lock to the rim. Granted, you don't want to peek it. Granted, you don't want to over-peek, overextend, give too much away and lose that body. But in doing so, Frosty had a bit too much freedom. Very, very well played to get away from that early engagement, but from Frosty games, I mean, you pull back, you stay alive, and that's why you do that. That's why you don't overcommit every single time on the run. You might have that all-important play when it comes to the end of the round. Over towards that office side, though, at the start of the push, I do want to see a little bit of nades over towards the archive side. I mean, we saw on Armory, we saw the Cade just hold that position in mini. One nade could have dealt with it completely. Could have forced that Cade out of position, and while they might not get the kill, they push in, they take control of Sandwich, they get the kill against the DMR in that close range, which, don't get me wrong, against Lock to the rim is a big ask, but that's not my point. The refrag could have been on the board. A real missed opportunity, but I feel like the option they went for wasn't as bad, just the execution needs tightening up just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely made that, you know, adjustment. Oh, sorry, not adjustment. Platteville keeping that adjustment, I should say, from last map where, you know, you get those early picks, or sorry, you get the man advantage in general. They were down a man, I believe, if I'm correct, unless I'm just completely spacing out. And they end up playing back, and he's just gonna, Hollow is just gonna walk in, and the Thunderbird knows this. But like I said, Platteville is starting to play really well together, you know, playing pretty passive, playing together, and that is an opening pick on the side of Frosty. Empressy just ends up walking into a place that he really shouldn't have, when the T-Bird knew that there was somebody there, and that's an opening pick on Platteville. And once again, I'm gonna like to see them do this. There's a little information coming out. They do know where this Thunderbird is, but Bubba, if he'd like, sorry, the Jaeger actually more so in that spot can help out this Thunderbird from top metal, but Locke on that DMR gets another kill, and Baka Bill is gonna try his best to one up these stairs, try and get these kills. All 3 of these players left are upstairs. They're gonna try and clear this player out. There are 2 of them. I'm not sure that they know that this player is 90. They do end up finding Bubba, though, and Bubba's gonna get a little aggressive here. He's gonna take this swing. He's gonna get another kill. He ends up getting instantly traded. Edgy gets 1, but that 90 player, they do have 2 up here, and Platteville just not giving up this control. I'd like to see them fall back a little bit, not fall into these old habits, but, you know, they're getting a little aggressive, and that Jaeger does fall off a little bit, holding a little bit tight of an angle from back office. He gets the kill A nice shot coming out of him, and now Terry Bull Keller left on his own. Block gets another kill on that DMR, and McCready, like I said before, if I'm Wayne State, I'm getting rid of that DMR because he's looking unstoppable on that thing.
I mean, you want to ban out the DMR, yeah, but then you got to consider the other DMR-like weapons on the board. The TCSG, definitely something I feel like Lock to the Rim could have a very big impact with. But I feel like the impact in that round was down to Wayne State. They maybe rushed a couple of steps that they didn't need to. I feel like, well, you know, the plan was in place. It was a good plan in general. Take control of that top floor, over towards Armory, have a player down below in Vents. But the Vent player pushed in a little bit too quickly. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Embassy who pushed in. Where my first concern about that is the fact that your sledge is going to the bottom of the floor. Now, I might be wrong. I won't deny that. But that's my big red flag at the very start there. Running up to that top floor, didn't feel like as much droning was done. It felt like Wayne State, they felt a bit caught off guard when they did take these gunfights, when they did swap these players. Maybe just having that little bit more droning, maybe just a little bit more careful about, okay, what are we jumping into right now? Are we safe to jump into vents? Is there a triple electrified reinforced wall in vents and a rotate, giving a line of sight? That's the big question for me. That's how I want to see the thought process develop for Wayne State.
I hate it.
That's that's actually the new default plant. That's
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that's slant. Have you not heard of that?
Oh no, I haven't. Wasn't fully aware. Must have not read it in the patch notes.
Yeah, well, it's a good one. I'll give you that.
It is great, but you do see event defense coming out. You have that information coming in, and maybe they want to get a little aggressive here. You see a lot of droning coming out, and you see a little bit of a sledge. I'm not sure what you wanted to do with that, but all good. You know, I'm going to trust the process. Empressy has been playing pretty well so far.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to start working this armory side of the map. They look like they're going to try and full take above. That fuse is going to do a lot of damage onto the floors for the most part, unless I'm an idiot and they may have already made those holes with shotguns, the defense. Maybe, you know, watch the rush from above, force out an upstairs take. And they're going to start making some progress on this office side as well. But you see Platteville have so many players upstairs, and with that being said, Frosty does get the opening pick on this guy top east. There's another player pushing in. He kills the castle of Bubba. Empressy looking to do some damage on this, and there's now 3 players on this armory side finally working their way in, but there's still a couple of players in office. Edgy, though, not completely sure they know he's here, and that might cause a lot of damage. They now hear the shots going in. Edgy does get that kill in office. They now have man advantage. They now have basically all of top floor. They're not sure this player is in 90, though, and that is Lock. Sorry, Frosty. And Frosty could do some damage here if he's not droned out properly.
Yeah, now if there's one problem area that you have on the board and you want to keep control of, it is that 90 as Locked to the Rim's able to spot that player. They will be able to down him. Does not find the kill onto backup bill, but does not need to. Terry Ball, aware that a player might be nearby, gets that fuse charge going down, doesn't find a kill, but forces the player out, gives Wayne State a little bit more to work with, but the fuse charge, I believe, is going to down them. And now, the 3 versus 2. The revive does come through, but 35 seconds ticking on the clock. They have the vert control, but they don't have enough vert destruction. They do not have enough lines of sight to open things up and go for this push. So, well, we're not really going to be able to have that vertical control that we need, so we're going to have to push in, rely on the gunfights. Locked to the Rim, though, is going to be looking and waiting, able to find one. Doesn't find a second, then A comes through to finish them off. But Frosty's there to close things down, finds the diffuser. Then seconds left, and you got to push in, but you got to go straight in. You have to go caution to the wind. You gotta go. The blind has to go down, and time to get down. The drop has to come through.
Wow. Detra does get the 2 kills. You saw Frosty retake upstairs. I mean, if he wanted to, he really could have just denied the plant from upstairs, but he does come back. He plays with his teammate, wants to make sure that they, you know, catch that planter before they end up getting into a scary post-plant situation, and they end up coming out with another defense. And as I said it before, defense is not the favorable side on this map. And we do see a timeout come out on the side of Wayne State. In my eyes, they do kind of need it. And just, I don't know. Timeout.
I think if maybe get a rehost, but honestly, I want to talk about how the round is playing out. I mean, Wayne State, I feel like they've got all the pieces in there, but unfortunately, that's not enough. I mean, you can have all the raw ingredients, but if you have all the raw ingredients of a cake, you still got a bunch of eggs, flour, sugar that you don't need. You don't want to eat it raw, do you? The thing that I want to get to is they feel unrefined. They need to just iron out these little crinkles in the plan. That vertical take has got to come through fast. It's got to be coordinated. That player in 90, you give them a little bit too much to work with, and they will take control of it, as we saw by Frosty, and then by Lock to the Rim being able to take control of it. Ultimately, I feel like they're bringing the fuse on the side of Terry Keller, and they're trying to do this soft destruction. They're not getting enough out of it. So, granted, you bring in Hollow. Hollow got taken out very quickly, so maybe commit another player to that top floor take alongside Hollow, where we saw the East main push come through. Ultimately, I think it's just relocation of assets and how you're going to set up the round. A lot of teams, I feel like they can go from A to B pretty well, but B to C? I mean, they know where they want to go, but they don't really know what to do with a lot of that time in the mid-round. And that's where some of these teams are starting to struggle. I think, unfortunately, Wayne State, they do fall into that category.
Yeah, I mean, to have a good late round, you need to have a good mid-round. And that's really, for the most part, what separates, talented teams per se and great teams. I guess good teams, great teams. But, that mid-round is something that's really difficult to really get done. I mean, from my playing days, from when I was IGLing, it took me a really long time how to learn really to get that mid-round going. It's a huge learning curve, and they're obviously struggling with it. They have the right idea. You said it. Like, I think it's not even just a point A to point B. It's more like they know point A and point C. They just don't know where point B really is. And that's kind of been their struggle for the most part. And, not really being able to have that mid-round is definitely costing them heavy on these attacks. They get that early control, and they've just not really been able to do anything with it. And going down 3-0 on border attacks, look, straight up, they're going to have to do some good work on these last 3 attacks, because I don't know what, Platteville really is like on their attacks, but just knowing what border is like as a map, this is looking a little scary for the side of Wayne State.
Yeah, I feel like looking towards the attacking side, even just in the future, I'd say kind of think about where are these key positions you want to get the vertical control on. Where do you want to take before you move into your next position? And if we do go on to our third and final map, I do want to see that. I want to see them saying, well, this is where we need to go before we can get this. Get that mental checklist in your head. It's been talked about by a million casters a million times before I ever thought of it. It's something that you've got to do. You've just got to, even if you sit down and write an actual checklist, that's perfectly fine. Just say, okay, well, we've got to take Armory control. To do that, we've got to have 90 control, because otherwise they can rotate around Fountain and Office. They can cause a lot of issues for us. So here's what we want to do. Here's what we need to do first. And just basically map out that B point. So you got A to B to C. Everyone knows what they're doing. You're happy. Like you say, though, Platteville, they're looking pretty good on the defense so far. The question is, does the attack match? And with a map like Border, I know you're leaning pretty heavily towards it probably will, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, Platteville has just been looking really good. They've been playing really well together for the most part, and it's just like, Wayne State's not necessarily doing that at the moment. They're kind of revolving around their players, winning their gunfights. They're spreading really far apart. And like you said, you get to that point where it's like you get that initial control. You got to know, for the most part, where are you going to finish? And to do that, you need to know what control you need. And more importantly, what control you don't need. Because a lot of these times with Wayne State, and this was happening on Villa as well, they start putting themselves in these spots that, like, they don't need to be. And it allows Platteville to, maybe if they didn't have that early round control, it allows them back into these rounds in situations that, Wayne State shouldn't even be putting themselves in the first place. So, you want to see Wayne State clean it up. You have 3 more rounds to do it. You have this timeout. You have a lot of time to talk about it. So I want to see a completely new Wayne State come out in these last couple of rounds and then, go to their defenses and for the most part, play it exactly like Platteville is.
Yeah, I mean, still going onto the attack, like you say, it's a very difficult thing. But we were in this position before on Villa. We did see Wayne State struggle to pick up that attack very quickly. And then they start to bring it back in the second half of the map. And I feel like their defense went very well on Villa as well. Maybe that'll happen again. Maybe not. But this attack, like you say, they've got time to talk about it. They've got time to have that little bit of a mental reset. Villa was very close. It didn't go their way. That might be affecting them. Best of three. It can be a long time, especially when you're tired after a long day of university and you kind of just want to sit back and play some games. And then you're shoved into a best of three against a good team that are performing, and you have to do your very best to match them. Obviously, Wayne State, they're very capable of it. They're very, very well performing players. It's just getting these little bits going well. I mean, sometimes you kind of get the feeling that they're playing as 5 individuals rather than one unit. But I mean, it's just lowering the amount of times that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, sometimes you have to make those kinds of plays. Like, we're not just going to say, what they're doing is completely wrong. It just feels like a lot of what happened on last map was they were relying on those plays. And right now, Platteville, the guns are hot right now. So taking these one-on-ones aren't necessarily going to work out that well because you got guys like Locke, Frosty, Jetrow on the side of Platteville, and those guns are just shooting. They are flaming hot at the moment. So, you get in a 1v1, like, if Locke is in a 1v1 with practically anybody on the side of Wayne State, 9 times out of 10, I'm betting on Locke to win that. So, it kind of comes down to playing a lot more teamwork and team play than it is just taking these ones where, they might be getting away with it in other games. But, like I said earlier, it's not a sustainable style of play. Especially when somebody like Locke is shooting his gun like he is now.
Yeah, and I think a big thing for me, looking at Platteville on the defense, is this might not be their map pick. It might be a map that they've worked on before, they've looked at it, but a big thing for me is the way that they're using their weapons, the way that they're positioning these operators is very, very effective. We're seeing that MX4 Storm playing these possible close-range engagements on 90. We're seeing Lock to the Rim covering all the way down from that server to that main door, or all the way over from that balcony. Speaking of Lock to the Rim, though, will be taken down in archives. We'll have the support of 2 players get picked up, but with the utility going through, well, they don't know if a frag grenade is about to follow. Buck holding that angle isn't going to be able to find the kill, but does that little bit of damage for later in the round, meaning Lock to the Rim isn't as oppressive as they might want to be in this defensive side. Minute off the clock, though, and ultimately the archive push, I think, pretty well telegraphed.
Yeah, I mean, the Buck kind of just throws his flashes away. He does get the kill, however, on the Cade. That is 1 of 3 C4s down. And you see one player's running up 90. He's just going to kill the Heart Breach player. That is a huge pick on the side of Frosty. Well done for him to just find the hole and just run in and kill the Heart Breacher. Excuse me. Wow.
It's putting him in an early grave.
Wow. But now they're just going to have to funnel through doorways, and that's not something that's going to be easy for them. No. But you see Bubba just run up the hallway. He got a little greedy, and that's not exactly great. But Jetrow is going to try and get one back. He doesn't connect with the shots, but he leaves. Frosty gets one back as well. Evens up the man count, and a pretty smart play for Jetrow, to be honest, for him to back up. He recognizes that they really need to only run through one doorway. Hollow does end up taking Locke off the board. Hollow runs in. He is now in cement. These 2 players are stuck now outside of this. They're going to have to try and kill Hollow here to try and get in. Hollow does get the kill. That is 3 for him on the round, and that pause helping him out a lot. But Frosty, someone who's playing so well, he's already on the ace. If he can find a way to close this out, he's going to have to try and find his way through. And Hollow with his 4th on the round. Huge round for him to get Wayne State on the board. And that right there, McCready, is what we love to see on the side of Wayne State.
Oh, yes, beautifully played. They took that break and they've really ran with it. I mean, Hollow, playing on that archive window, was able to find the down onto Lock to the Rim. Didn't confirm that kill until much later into the round. But in doing so, like you say, locked to the rim, not as confident taking these gunfights, doesn't want to get as aggressive with the DMR when you're going up against, say, the G36 on Yana, or the Para 301 on Capital. So, taking that player, taking that HP, huge start to the round, and I feel like this is something we talked about on the side of Wayne State that Platteville is starting to do. They're starting to just get a little bit carried away with themselves, a little bit too confident, because we saw two players push up. I mean, first of all, Frosty Games was able to find that frag, taken out Backup Bill over towards Office, and huge play. Amazing. Like you said, that's the hard reach gun. That was very, very well done. Huge impact on the round. But then we saw another player go for that push. We saw Frosty try and get aggressive again, which is why I think you're so right when Jetral was very, very smart in pulling back, recognizing you're starting to get a little bit too aggressive. Unfortunately, though, the damage was done. They had the lines of sight. Holler was able to just really dominate during that round over towards that Beeper's position, and I think that's very well played from Wayne State. They deserved that round. We asked them to up their game, and they did.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, at the end of the day, Platteville just getting a little too aggressive. But Wayne State, I mean, it's got to be noted that they took advantage of that. You know, like, you can't just say, you know, oh, Platteville made all these mistakes. Sure, even if they make all these mistakes, at the end of the day, Wayne State is capitalizing on this. And that hatch is soft. Which I'm not sure if they mean to do that. Not necessarily something you see every day, but once again, they are holding Workshop in that way, trying to make sure that this horizontal control is kept on the side of Platteville. They want to be able to hold this from Workshop, that vent side of the map, so that, you know, they might give up the top floor for the most part, but, you know, they don't give up too much control as they can fight all of sight from deep.
Yeah, now, something that I'm really interested in is this Nomad coming back. The flank, which we saw last round, slipped a little bit for the side of Wayne State, but it's definitely picked up now. Now, we are going to see the player of Bubba having to pull back. Jed Trout trying to get aggressive, trying to put Wayne State onto the back feet, but this is a renewed team. Hedgie is going to be able to find that pick and open things up now. Only Frosty's staying on that top floor. Big question for myself is, are Wayne State going to drone it out? Are they going to check, do their due diligence? And yes, that drone comes around that 90 corner. The player of Alibi will be spotted, and the C4 comes through. Terry Bull able to find that frag, and in doing so gives Frosty a little bit more breathing room. Not enough, however, though, as the drone comes out watching the east stairs. Hollow's able to find a kill down into the bathroom. Beautifully done. They know the player's still there, and Frosty, who drops down, is able to help the team out on site. And with 1 minute left, the vertical control has gone in favor of Wayne State.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really, you know, I kind of noted that earlier with the bathroom hatch. They leave it soft and they get punished for it. The archives hatch is also soft when this is the main priority of their hold. Not something incredible you want to see, and Edgy ends up getting another kill on the round. That is the East player trying to make something happen, and now the bomb's going down. Locke is kind of in a spot where he's not really in a place to help his teammates. Bubba all the way back, and maybe Platteville is starting to get a little nervous, if you ask me. They're kind of making a couple of these plays where they're giving up a lot of control. That confidence might not be there. Even though it, you know, like the setup is a little incorrect. And like we said before, Wayne State looking at these mistakes and they are taking full advantage.
Yeah, and it's something that we saw happen on the flip side in the first couple of rounds. I mean, Platteville did exactly the same thing. They were able to say, well, their flank watch is slacking a little bit. Let's push. Wayne State, they've tightened it up. They've got that droning just to try and make sure these little things aren't going amiss, like Frosty over by East Main. Like this player nearby over towards Workshop saying, well, they're not there. The other player's still low. We could go for a push onto site. Platteville looking towards that site again. If you do want to have that Workshop push, like you say, you've got to have that hatch. Both hatches done. The bathroom and the Workshop, I believe. And if you're going to have the Workshop player, at least make that Workshop wall a little bit more open so you can see, you can use the range of that UMP. You can get even more out of it. Now, returning to this Armory site, this is one that we've seen a 50% success rate on. Platteville, they can and have successfully defended it. Wayne State, however, can and have successfully attacked it. Big problems, though, for Wayne State were the flank watch. That was something they tightened up very quickly. I just want to see them lock it down from the get-go, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, on the side of Platteville, like, you just got to see them do what they were doing earlier, and they don't seem to be doing that. I want to see them go back to what they're doing. You see a lock is kind of, that pause didn't necessarily help him out too much. He finds himself sitting at 0-2 since that timeout, since that rehost that we had. And they're going back to this armory defense, something that they've had a lot of success on in that first round that, that they lost, that round 4. It was a lot closer than that past Bathroom Tellers. So they're trying to go to their #1 site. They want to get that 4-2 split, which, like we said earlier, even though they've lost these last 2 rounds, a 4-2 split is still a pretty good advantage for Wisconsin-Platteville. So Wayne State will still have a lot of work to do. So this round, in my eyes, is a huge swing round, a big difference between things, and that is information going down. He ends up getting out for free. Jet Trow also having a slow start since the rehost. But, Platteville wasting a little bit of time. That's a minute down, and Wayne State, they have that control, but absolutely no damage has been done so far, and that means Platteville is doing a lot better than they have in the previous couple of rounds.
Yeah, this round 6, like you said, it's very much a sling round. The momentum could go either way. There's more than just one round difference between a 4-2 and a 3-3 split. There's that feeling of comfort, anxiety, and right now Wayne State, they're pushing. They're trying to get that 3-3 split. They're trying to make Platteville uncomfortable, but Platteville, they just have to sit pretty, do what's been doing, do what's worked so far. And with this player down below, Frosty with that C4 in pocket, has potential to make things a living nightmare for Wayne State now. Time ticking down though. Edge will go off over the walls 19. No real push made onto sight, but Edgy be able to find the kill. As Hollow's able to find a second with that armory breach going up. What he will get down is going to be huge. Lock to the rim, finishes off Hollow. That archive hold, that archive presence is taken away, and suddenly Platteville can turn their attention to Armory and CC almost completely. That's exactly what they're going to do. The swing comes through from Edgy as Bubba gets a C4 kill. Not going to be able to find that gunfight, and 90 opens up to Edgy. Beautiful play so far, just have to compound it. And with that EMP come through, the attackers have a chance to push through. They're not going to do that. They're going to all move together, play for the refrags. This rotate coming through yet again, Joe.
It's beautiful, and I'm not sure they're going to know he's here. And they're going to get the wrong wall open as well, but Locke has made that play to be able to get in. Bubba is still worried about it, but they do spot him. And now Locke is going to have to come up huge here. He does not get any damage done, but Bubba still looking at this part of the map. That bomb is going down. Bubba's going to have to commit. He's going to have to come out. Locke ends up hitting the floor. Bubba left on his own in a 1v3. He does not have a C4. He does kill the planter, however, though, and he has a lot of time to work with here as well. The wall is open. The long eagle wall is not open. Edgy is watching the cross, and the Lion is playing really passive. He does see him, and he doesn't see that cross, and he ends up getting wall banged. Edgy gets 3 on that right there. Huge plays coming out of him, and Wayne State, after a super slow start, have tied this game up.
Oh yeah, I mean, that Wayne State is exactly what I wanted to see. The first time we took this round, the first time we went for that rotate, the wall got opened, you had a player in Fountain ready to put pressure. You knew someone was going to get aggressive. You knew someone was going to try and take that kill. That would be locked to the rim. Down that player, take them out the equation. Suddenly, Bubba's all on their lonesome. Playing with the MP5K, yes, a weapon that you can do a lot of damage with, combined with that SMG-11, but no C4. You've got to push through into a post-plant situation. And like we saw, Bubba really struggled, had to walk into that crossfire, and eventually wasn't able to deal with it. Very well played from them. That rotate was timed well. They coordinated that actual final execute very well. I feel like this is Wayne State starting to hit their stride again. This is what we saw on Villa. This is what I want to see now. I want to see them continue it. On the flip side, though, Platteville, this is by no means over. This is the attacking round. This could be a change that you need. It's not a 4-2 split like you want, but you do have that change in play style. That's one they really were able to play into in that Villa. So, will it work on Border, Joe?
I mean, 5 seconds to go. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I mean, it's hard to tell right now how these attacks are going to look like on the side of Platteville and what these defenses are going to look like on Wayne State, just because, there was a 3-3 split for the most part, basically, like the first half of their side and the second half of their side on Villa, where each of these teams, Platteville in their first 3 defenses and Platteville in their second 3 defenses were 2 completely different teams. It was the same exact thing with Wayne State, and we saw the exact same thing happen in this game. Platteville, first 3 rounds, looked amazing. It was kind of like the opposite this time. But Platteville, first 3 rounds, looked amazing. Second 3 rounds, nothing was really close, where that could definitely be the same thing again. But Edgy, since that rehost has been gunning, and same with Hollow, they've basically been Shaq and Kobe, to be honest, playing since that rehost. And Platteville just taking so slow, McCready.
Yeah, I mean, they're in control, and you know it, and that's really how they want to play it. They want to just say, right, we're going to slow you down. We're going to make you drone this. We're going to make you clear this. We're going to make you use all the utility that you have at your disposal. For example, thermite charge on that triple wall. You're going to know we're playing nearby. We've got a mirror window, but we don't care. Our guns have been on fire at the moment. We are going to make you deal with it, and we are going to shoot the Twitch drone when it comes through. Half the round coming through, and no real entrances into the building for Platteville over towards that east side. This is where I want to see that vertical play really come through. They know the mirror window's there. They're giving the pings. The frag grenade is not down below because it's already been used. But you have a player that can catch him off guard or at least help out Frosty. Time ticking down, and ultimately a very good defense. Very aggressive. And Wayne State showing that they're not afraid to take these fights.
Yeah, and that 90 shield is on a soft floor, so I just wish he used one of his snades on that. But Hollow hits a pretty nice shot off the shield, and this is where no ranged hard breach is really going to hurt you. Oh, and Edgy, it's a beautiful shot, a nice little one tap on that one, and now a 5v3 for the side of Wayne State. And Edgy, I'm not sure he knows that he's down. He does get another kill, and Locke left on his own in sight. He does get a trade where he does down one player, and Bubba gets smoked by Hollow. And Wayne State, we talked about it, their guns just feel so hot, and you're looking at with Platteville right now, and their confidence just seems like it's gone.
It really does. I mean, we're looking at those players in the last round, and, well, Frosty, Bubba didn't shoot back, didn't shoot on that repeat, wasn't pre-firing, whereas Hollow knew exactly where to aim, knew exactly where to shoot. They knew that peak was going to come through. Edgy, though, we've got to talk about that. That play in CCTV, holding that position, holding those lines of sight, has that play into office. That's beautiful. But then also realizes, well, this push might be coming through from that balcony. That's where I'd be. That's where I want to push if I was an attacker, and I knew this player was playing in CC. Puts a few shots, does that damage. Even though you get it down, you don't know that. But to get that down as well, that's so beautiful. That's incredibly well thought. I think the game sense coming through has been incredible. This is the Wayne State I want to see. This is why I believe they picked this map. I feel like they're into the swing of things now. They've raised a challenge by taking the lead for the first time on this map. Now Platteville have to answer for the first time to keep themselves even, to keep themselves from letting Wayne State get away with things and maybe consider a map 3. But, well, Joe, that's a long way down the road so far. Right now they need to deal with bathroom tellers, and this defense, very different setup already to what we saw from Platteville.
They reinforced the bathroom hatch, and they ended up hitting it as well. Definitely good. I'm not really a fan of them not, holding workshop. I'd like to see a rotate kind of hold that part of the map as well, but I can't really complain too much. I mean, they have 2 extra reinforcements they could use on both hatches. They are holding it with a body, but they don't have a rotate to sight. So I guess for the most part, that is fine. As long as Edgy can hold this. Edgy really has been playing well so far this game. So he's about to get in a gunfight with Locke, and Locke comes out on top. Beautiful. And on top of that, he gets the cams as well. Hollow's taking some damage, trying to get aggressive so he can get a trade. He's just taking some gunfights to go a little crazy, and he does get the quick peek. He does see the player. Robo ends up getting traded. He's struggling a lot at the moment. Hollow gets one back, and he's not looking to fall back yet. He's given himself a rotate out, but he does want to get something back. I just want to see him work up these stairs. If this alibi tries to drop back, Locke has the kill. Hollow gets another one though. And the second he decides to fall back, he will die. But Hollow still wants to take some of these gunfights. McCready, look at him.
He knows.
He
knows.
And he gets the kill. Beautiful, McCready.
Yes, and looks for another one's able to get the quad kill. Take it off, Bubba. This CCTV, it's capturing all that you want to see on border. As we see, Hollow's going to be holding down that position. Not a lot of HP. The ace isn't really likely, but the damage is done onto Frosty. And right now, the situation Frosty's in isn't looking good. Spotted on cams, the damage coming through yet again. Right now, Frosty doesn't want to walk down those stairs. Gonna walk towards balcony, but then you have to deal with CC again.
Yes.
Hollow could drop down. Hollow could push out. But right now, it's going to be Bucker Bill taken off the board, and that's going to be Hollow taking it. The second ace so far. And it's yet again on the side of Wayne State. Very, very well played, Hold. Like you said, if the drop came through, Hollow would be dead. But it didn't. Hollow decided, I'm taking these gunfights. I'm going to play my life. I've got one pick. I've got two. Okay, now I've got three. I can really afford to just go for it and see exactly what I want to do. At that point, though, that was it. That was Platteville stopped in their tracks.
Yeah, I mean, Wayne State, we saw that timeout. I said it exactly. I wanted to see a completely different Wayne State esports. And here we are seeing a completely different Wayne State esports. It's just beautiful seeing what Hollow and Edgy are doing at the moment. I mean, look, I don't want to say something too crazy, but we've played 5 rounds since that rehost. Hollow and Edgy combined have 23 kills of the 25 in those 5 rounds. The 2 of them, I will repeat this just to say this. In 5 rounds, out of 25 kills of their 5 teammates, they have 23 of them, McCready.
Just stats like that, man, they really make you think. I mean, I look at this map and I say, well, like I said, this is Wayne State. They are very happy. They are confident. And Platteville, I feel like they might be a little bit shaken by a couple of these rounds. I mean, in that last round, CCTV, they had about 4 players committed to dealing with Hollow. There wasn't really any double peak. There wasn't really a commitment. It was just giving 1v1s to Hollow. That's something you do not do, even if you're in the worst mental state in the world, because that will just make it harder. With allowing that alibi to get that ace, not really having an answer to it now. Obviously, they're going to want to play this a lot tighter. They're going to want to be together. They don't want to give any quarter away. This is a situation we saw on Villa. Wayne State, they got over towards that potential map point, and suddenly Platteville were able to bring it back. Are they able to do that on Villa, though?
I mean, I want to see them do something, but we talked about it earlier, you know, it's the 3-3. Maybe they just need to get a little comfortable on these attacks and kind of see the way that it's being played. But Hollow and Edgy are just shooting completely differently. I think he's going to try and shoot him through the wall. Just take some shots. No! Hollow finds a way to get out of it. He has this hole, this deep angle that I'm not completely aware of. Dokkaebi doesn't make that play, and is there one in customs? He's not completely sure. Jetrout does get the first kill on Hollow. That's a huge pick, but Empressy, somebody who had a pretty good map. Oh, Locke does know, but Empressy does get the kill, and I'm not really sure what on earth he was doing, but a good kill out of Empressy to be able to even the man count.
Yeah, no, Empressy has that high value position of passport or customs, because in that situation you can cut off the main stairs push, you can cut off anybody that's trying to go from workshop to blue, and now Jetrout has to commit a significant portion of time to dealing with Empressy. And Empressy knows, still has that C4 in pocket, can hear where this player is moving, and now knows roughly where you're not supposed to go. As the Flores drones come through, they can cause a few issues as Frosty looks to push into this site. 1 minute left. It's gonna have to be soon, and you have to think, what do Platteville have that's gonna allow them to execute right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's just another kill. Edgy, they may have taken out one of the big ones, but they didn't get the second one, and now Wayne State really starting to get scary. The guns from all the teammates are starting to shoot, and that just spells huge amounts of trouble for Platteville. Robo and Frosty left on their own. And we see players like Jetrout, we see players like Locke, where, you know, in the previous map, even in the first 3 rounds of this game, they looked great. But those guns are just starting to get really, really cold. And now with only 15 seconds, they're on the verge of going down 6-3. That's one that Terry gets. He looks like he's not going to get the second. Frosty gets 1 player down. He does not get a second. However, Wayne State have put us onto match point. And McCready, they've just looked different in this second half.
Yeah, I mean, looking over towards board, this is exactly the Wayne State that you expect to see when you come to the champion division of the NECC. This is what it's all for. This is why we're watching it, and this is why I'm very excited to be here. Wayne State taking another round. That's a flawless start on their defense so far. They just have to lock it down with 1 more round. They have been prepared for this defensive side. This is what they wanted, and they seem to be getting what they want from it. I mean, looking towards this now, they're very, very adept at just shutting down the momentum of the attack. They're very adept at just putting them in these uncomfortable positions, like we saw Robo and Bubba had to push. They had to drop down Vent Hatch. And that is just all sorts of difficult, especially with all the Wayne State players still lying around. Like you said, though, a huge thing for Wayne State. You got one of their players that's popping off. You didn't get the other one. Hollow and Edgy both having the game of their lives so far at the moment, and they're easily outfragging the rest of the team combined on platform. Looking at this, I expect Wayne State, unless they really change up their playstyle in the next 3 minutes, I see this going to map 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's not, I don't think that's too much of a hot take. It's looking very likely that we are headed to a map 3, but hey, there is still a lot of Siege left to be played. Anything can happen. And I mean, Platteville, I would have liked to see them take a timeout, maybe after losing that first defense, kind of get it back a little bit. Because, I mean, you've lost 6 straight rounds. You have a total of, let me do the math real quick. 11 kills since the rehost in 6 rounds. They're just not only losing 6 straight rounds, they're getting smoked in these 6 rounds.
Oh, yeah.
So, you got to see something come through, and that mirror window does get popped open. But there are not just 1, but 2 players inside of CCTV, and if you're going to go for an armory take, you got to clear CC. But Empressy gets taken down deep in sight by Frosty, a big opening pick, and Bubba looking to take the other side of the map. A little interesting. They're running 2 hard breachers. They're looking to maybe throw a body outside of armory, see if they can get some, sight lines, and maybe go for a little bit of a late office take. That control was forfeited on the side of Wayne State as well, so they do have that control now, and they've set this up pretty nicely. If they can get rid of this mirror window, which they now have, a big deal. That is huge coming out of that side. Terry, this round is fully going to ride on him. But like I said earlier, that ranged hard breach, McCready, huge in clearing that mirror.
Yeah, like you say, being able to open up both sides of those mirror windows, and in doing so now, Terry Keller with that Alder has a huge part to play, but so does Hollow, able to take away Robo, and in doing so will give you Platteville 1 less player to work with. The revive of the Frosty will go off, but all players have to push together over towards Archive's side. They know someone's nearby. A jump out could come through, but Hollow doesn't want to do it. They want to play it safe. They want to hold. They don't want to get too greedy. They don't want to give away too much, and just hope that Platteville, they're going to consider that position droned. Backerbill pushes up, has a C4 in pocket, doesn't want to over-peek it just yet. They know someone's going to be looking, and there the peek comes through. They know that Frosty's staring at them, and they're not going to look. Push comes through, Bubba's able to find Hollow, in doing so opens things up on office, but that's going to be Frosty able to get them down onto... No, doesn't get the down onto Bubba. The C4 comes through, it gives a line of sight. It's backed the players off, and with 20 seconds left, they're going to have to push. They know where the mirror is. They have the cross through archives, but do they have the gun skill? Backerbill. What can you say? Huge kill slows things down, and with 10 seconds left, the push has to come through. Backerbill able to find another one, and it's all down to Bubba.
5 seconds remaining.
Oh, that was possible. They really gave him an opportunity there, but That's 7 straight rounds from Wayne State, and I mean, this is the Wayne State that, for the most part, we expected to see, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a team that's 3-0 that, we expected to be the favorite, and for a while, it didn't look like it, but Hollow having such an amazing map. Guy just played so well coming out of the rehost, and that
yeah.
you'll love to see that as a teammate. And to be honest, like when you have a teammate shooting like that, that kind of confidence radiates to your teammates, Like it just enables your teammates to be able to play off of that. And that's just obviously gonna help you a ton in confidence wise. And the whole team started playing well, and that's the Wayne State, we're all loving to see.
Yeah, I mean, the comms must have been absolutely crazy when they come in with plays like that. When you see Edgy's ace over towards that CC, when you see Hollow being able to make these kills, open up these opportunities for the team. On the side of Platteville, it's not over yet. That was your buffer map. But, well, the clock's been reset. We are going to be going to what essentially is a best of one. That's how Platteville have to look at it. Wayne State, well, they can look at it. They come off the top of they just got another map back. Their mental stability, definitely there. I'm very happy with how they played so far, and I'm a lot more excited for map 3 than I would have been with a closer scoreline. So we're going to be taking a very short break, but we will be back very, very soon. Hello and welcome back. An exciting map too. To even things out and send us all the way to our third map of the evening, Clubhouse. Now, this is a map, Joe, that when I look at it, I say, well, on paper, I want to say it leans a bit more towards Platteville because we saw Villa, and that was a very structured map. We saw consistency coming through from Platteville and the play style and how they were able to make these little adjustments. But Wayne State, they have been able to use these huge hero moments and huge impact rounds to get control of it, and that's what we saw on Border. But when we come to a map like Clubhouse, I feel like that's where you start to lean a little bit more towards Platteville's playstyle, just that bit more. And it's something interesting because we were talking about it in the break, weren't we?
Yeah, I mean, this map definitely as well can favor Platteville if they choose. And what I mean by that is depends really for the most part on how they play this map. A map like Clubhouse, unlike Villa, or, well, I guess you can do this on Villa, but it wasn't done. You can't do this at all on Border. You can isolate a small part of the map. And the big reason that helps out Platteville a lot is Wayne State has two players just running around the entire map, making it really difficult for Platteville to take certain control. So if you get rid of that and you do more of these direct linear takes, you can take that variable out and that playmaking ability out from Wayne State and make this a game that really fits your play style more than Wayne State.
Oh, yeah. I think it just comes down to that coordination. I mean, you're looking at that top floor, say a gym bedroom hold, and you've got to divide that map up if you're going from CC, or just in general when you're going for the take. You have garage, that's one position. CC, cash room, construction. These are little chunks, they're like a wedding cake. It's all tiered. You have to take it tier by tier when you come for these takes. And I feel like that's exactly what you say, Joe. You can cut them off. You can have, say, a Nomad or a Zero or a Gridlock, just holding these positions in one way or another. And in doing so, with crossfires, with the flank information that you have, these roamers suddenly have a lot less freedom of movement. And like you say, that's something Wayne State, they've enjoyed a lot of. I mean, look at Hollow, look at Edgy. Their freedom of movement has been exactly what's caused a lot of these problems for Platteville.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, it really is all on Platteville to, make this decision. Clubhouse is a very default, for the most part, comp map. And you can play it somewhat differently in a sense, but at the end of the day, this map, you can make this your playground in the sense that, sorry, I'm really struggling to find the words. It's more so you can make this map fit your playstyle, and if Platteville can realize that and achieve that, this could be a map where we really do find them make the upset.
Yeah, and I feel like Platteville, this is a map where you can look at the setup and say, well, this is the default one. How are we just going to make these tiny little adjustments to suit us? How are we going to look at this map and say, well, this is probably what they're going to do. This is what everyone does in Clubhouse. Wayne State might be different, but they're probably not going to be that different, let's be honest. So it's all default for a reason. So what little adaptations can we make just to give us that little bit of an edge? Right now, though, Wayne State, though, they're going to be going for a rather typical push. They're going to have those two Osa shields. They're going to open up that main breach. Now, the question is, construction or garage? How are they going to want to take this? Who's going to be making that push? Now, Hollow in stock already. It's going to be Drone and Gao, as will Embassy, both spotting that player of Jetru up on Rafters. Embassy putting the pressure on. And Edgy, in a good position, will be cutting off that Rafters rotate, forcing Jetrod to take that gunfight with Embassy. And this is what you said about cutting these roamers off, cutting off these defenders. The problem is, though, for Platteville, it's the side of Wayne State that are doing it so far.
Yeah, and I mean, Hollow's doing a great job at getting that opening pick. A little bit of an oopsie on the utility, but at the end of the day, this breach is open, and I don't really know where the second part of this take is really coming in from. Jetrod takes a lot of damage, and like I said, though, I don't know where the rest of this take is coming from. Not a lot of control has really been taken from the side of Wayne State. Locke just has to sit there and wait. Jackal does take a fight. Locke gets a huge kill to bring that back, and there's just no control. Even though they had that man advantage on the side of Wayne State, there's no control on that side. That's the CC window player getting taken down by Bubba. He is staring at the drone, and he ends up not seeing him, but they end up getting that R3 wall open, and now the Jaeger is left on a spot that is not fantastic, but Locke ends up getting really aggressive. Hollow gets his third on the round. He maintains that great play that he's been having this entire game, and a C4 comes out. It gets, I think, both of the Osa shields and puts 2 of them to 1 HP. And I will say, McCready, there is a smoke on the board. One puff of that will take down both players.
Yeah, now the big thing for me here is that Wayne State, like you said, they haven't really committed one way or another to either garage or to construction, but Hollow's going to be walking up red. You don't have time. You've got to go for the push as Bubba's able to find another kill. Keeps the side of Platteville in it. The revive comes through, and both Terry Bull and Backer Bill, barely 25 HP between them. I got to push this garage. They don't have time to go for that split push. The breaches are going to be opened up. They have to get the diffuser. They have to counter sight, and Bubba's just going to hold it. Terry Bull gets the team kill as Backer Bill stuck with the plan. And while the Pom will see it, the attacker knows exactly where this player is. Has to get aggressive. And Bubba's going to win it out. And I feel like you said, it's got to be that second front. I don't think Wayne State knew where they wanted to do it from and found themselves in a position where they had to push garage. And with those 30 seconds left, they had to push garage, but they didn't have time or the coordination to really make it stick. We saw Hollow push up, get a couple of kills, but nothing really taken because of that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to lie. Wisconsin Platteville got served around on a silver platter. Ooh. Like that. Nice little pun right there.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's just like...
It's better than Champ, though.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That round is not one they necessarily deserve to win, but they end up getting the round win. And when you're playing against a good team, sometimes those rounds that, you know, you're not supposed to win, that you end up getting that round on the board, is what sets you apart in a game and allows you to win. So, you know, Bubba coming up absolutely huge. Locke ends up helping out as well. But I'm sure Terry is going to be kicking himself after getting that team kill. They had that man advantage, and they end up giving it up. Platteville get themselves on the board first, and, you know, an opening attack win would have been pretty huge for Wayne State, but I'm looking at their comp right now, and that's kind of a crazy composition coming out. You have a Fuse, which isn't too uncommon, but you also have a Jackal on what looks like it's a kitchen dirt. So that's not a lot of utility coming out of him. He's also running Claymores instead of smokes. And then you have a Nomad on Club.
Yeah.
It's an interesting lineup, to say the least. Interesting utility coming out of all of them, but Frosty is upstairs, and for a kitchen dirt take, you need to have somebody on Logi Hatch to counter this. And as I say that, Terry is working his way up there as we speak.
Yeah, it's at this point I'd like to let everybody know we are actually in comms with both teams right now. They're going to hear everything we're saying. Hi, guys. Right now, Terry's looking over towards that Logi Hatch, like you say. Realizes they don't have soft breach, they've got hard breach, and is trying to choose whether you use that, allow it to get shot out, or you risk it with the fuse charge. Now, maybe deadening a fuse charge right now with this hatch going off while the impact tricks are done, that could be huge. But the hatch being opened up, wall will get opened as well. And the player upstairs of Frosty is going to pull back to construction. This is where this roam clear you want to see a little bit more. As Robo's able to find a kill into back of Bill. Get a player in construction. You can isolate this player so well. Frosty Games, though, is going to get taken out by Empressy, who is going to be taking out that player and going for that roam clear. As Jet Rail looks to get a bit aggressive, will be able to find a kill into Hollow and keep the advantage in the side of Platteville. They have been handed that round, you might say, in the first round, but they are by no means showing that they do not deserve to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge pick to get back. You know, they have man advantage now, and that momentum that we were talking about earlier seems to be shifting, and this lack of utility on the side of Wayne State, like I said, they're going for this kitchen dirt. The fuse is nowhere to be found in kitchen. The vert player, and I just, you know, they end up not getting a lot done. They end up smoking the long haul. A good play. He is aware that he's allowed to play in this back armory spot with no contention. And I just, I don't know. There's only 30 seconds left on the round. Wayne State has got to make something happen, and the Fuse player is going to make his way over to Dirt to try and make something happen in this round, but these smokes just keep coming out. It's delaying the push, and this entire push is going to rely on Terry. He's going to have to make something happen in that angle. He can't find this kill on the Thunderbird. He ends up getting taken down. Edgy is going to try and make something happen. He gets taken down by Locke on the smoke, and that is a second defense coming out of Platteville where obviously they looked good, but questionable decisions being made by the side of Wayne State.
Yeah, I think the big one that you say is why did it take so long to get upstairs and start getting that pressure over towards Frosted Games? I mean, that was very well played from the Aruni. Then I will be honest, when it comes to the kitchen, they positioned well on the side of Wayne State. They didn't overpeak, they didn't over-aggress, they didn't just run in and say, well, kitchen's clear, main stairs is clear, let's go. They were aware that that could have been a problem, but then, like you say, that does raise the question, next round, are you going to be prepared for the possibility somebody's up there? What are you planning to deal with that player? That's something that we saw on Border, we saw a bit of it on Villa. I want to see it a bit more on this map, but that's not saying it was bad from Wayne State or it was horrible from Platteville on the first round. It's just both teams are playing well. I think it's just each round we're seeing one team just kind of inch it out a little bit more, whether it be slight little decision making or slight little positioning, maybe just the way they think about approaching a round. I think that's something that Wayne State would like to take a look at a little bit more. Maybe in the VOD review say, well, we went for a Dirt kitchen push, we ended up going upstairs, we didn't really put that pressure on Dirt until late round. How are we going to change that? And I feel like it's something they could really benefit from. I don't want to say that to be mean. I want to see these teams develop. I want to see Wayne State come in a lot stronger than they've been so far.
Yeah, they're also bringing 2 sets of EMPs and 2 sets of EMPs and a gridlock on Clubhouse, where I kind of said this last round, and I'm not sure if Wayne State is trying to like reinvent the wheel or okay, fine, great, fantastic. I'm not really sure if they're trying to reinvent the wheel or this is just their strats, but the operator selection coming out on their side is not necessarily something great, but that ace getting put to work early, that wall is completely open. The bathroom wall is also open as well. However, there is no pressure downstairs, which is really going to hurt them. They're not going to really be able to make too much happen. They do have a player on Logi Hatch. They are aware of this Jaeger's presence downstairs, and I'm not sure if they're going to make this decision to clear him or not, but Hollow ends up being taken down by Frosty on the castle. He does a great job in making sure that not only does he get his pick, but he ends up taking, getting away with his life. But also, you have these players playing on this window, and there's no CC pressure in any way, and Empressy's down to 1. Ends up getting a lot of damage in. He ends up escaping as well, but with no CC pressure, these players on the windows have to worry about that CC window, McCready. They have to worry about it, and I don't see them. Oh, it's castled. My apologies. Well, that doesn't seem like that's very smart.
No, but the thing is, you can still rotate a player around, because something I feel Wayne State could be doing with this round is, so you've got a lot of bodies. You have one over on those windows, which was a point I wanted to make about 20, 30 seconds ago. Get a player over towards CC. Now, Empressy is able to close down and finds Lock to the rim, but that's a 4 versus 4 with 40 seconds left. They don't have control of main stairs. They don't have control of the lines of sight over towards CC. But Edgy and Empressy are going to be able to negate that a little bit by finding those 2 picks. And as Bubba starts to rotate back to site from construction, so does Robo. 20 seconds ticking down on the clock. Those gridlock track singers going to cause a big problem. The plank can go down. Very good recovery from Wayne State to get to this position. The very awkward plant going to look at going down in Jim. But it's going to be Baka Bill able to find a kill onto Robo. 10 seconds left. The plant will go down. And now Wayne State, they just need to sit pretty. But Baka Bill says, no, I'm going to go for the kill. And why not? Wayne State take that first round on Clubhouse.
Yeah, that definitely just seemed like a misplay. They had guys that setup really hurt them, to be honest with you. No wall denial, you know. The castle, I
Mm.
don't know why they put it on server window instead of gym window. It seems like it would have done a little bit better on gym window instead. So that if they did decide to play some players on that highway balk, on that master balk, depending on what you call it, they can do something
Attackers need
about
to
it. But with
locate
all
and
these
defuse
windows
the bomb.
castled, there's nothing they can do. That hurts them a lot. But we did see Edgy end up pushing downstairs. Definitely something that I hinted at earlier, and they ended up doing it. They had some vertical pressure working up the main stairs, so that player on main stairs had something to worry about. And big round win from Wayne State, but that site setup from Platteville left a lot to be desired for.
Attackers have discovered the location of
I
the bomb.
feel, yeah, looking towards that position, like you say, CC window could have opened a lot of opportunities for the defenders, even if it's just putting pressure over towards Embassy. They wouldn't have that confidence to go and get those couple of kills, then push into the side. But, something to look for the next round. Wayne State now,
Attackers are
that's the
moving
first site
towards the
rotation
bomb.
complete. Now you're going to be going to sites that you have already attacked. Now looking towards CC, I want to see that second front start to form a lot quicker. I ideally don't want to see this being like a last 30 seconds type beat. I want to see them saying, okay, well, we've got the breach open, or we've got the pressure over towards the breach. How are we going to take control of this? How are we going to just add on? Go for construction or go for garage. At least get the cutoff for the Rafters player. Embassy going to be starting us off with a very quick kill over through those drone holes. Lock to the rim will find an answer. The Dockery is off the board, but that does not mean that the DMR is, as Rooney's able to take it off. Utility goes through, main breach will get opened.
Cade, why? They made the same mistake last time, just a little bit later, and that timing on the EMP was just not there. And they're going to try and get this wall open, and it's not going to end up being completely open like they did earlier. That EMP will run out, so it is a crouch hole you can get in, but it's not the same as they tried to get it last time with a sprint hole, as they're going to try and save one. But Locke, off screen, does find another pick downstairs. He's killed both of the players that have been, really effective so far on this map so far, Hollow and Empressy. The two playmakers, and now Baka Bill starting to work his way over. I guess he's going to walk back to breach, probably trying to get that R3 wall open yet again. I don't know if that wall is muted, but Locke trying to get aggressive here. I'm not sure about this play. There is nobody on that wall. Bubba taking a lot of damage. He's on that R3 wall. Edgy does kill Bubba on that rafters, I believe is where he just died. And at the end of the day here, Platteville, they get that man advantage, but they're making the same mistakes that they've been making before. And that's just not something you like to see. But the ace, he walks into CC. He ends up getting the BP, and now he seems ready to get the bomb down. He gets a kill. That's a huge kill on Robo. That's a C4 down. And he's just sitting there. Now Locke ends up playing downstairs. He sees him. He downs the planter. He knows it. He gets the kill. That's 3 for him on the round. Jetrow gonna try and do what he can, but the bomb is going down again. Edgy, he is below by himself. Baka ends up dying on the plant. Jetrow in a 1v1. A huge round. They have no info. Edgy starting to work his way up the stairs. I'm sure that barbed wire was hurt. He's not going to know that Jetrow is close. And Jetrow clutches out the 1v2. And that is so big. So big. Platteville, huge defensive win coming out from them. And this is a pretty solid lead so far, I would say. A pretty decent lead, I'm not going to lie. Definitely a little bit different. They're looking a lot better than they were towards the end of that last map.
Yeah, I think in the side of Wayne State, that push had to come through with the garage. I mean, they're good at clearing out this Rafters player. They put the pressure in the right places. They have that garage door. They have the breach applying the pressure. They don't have that rotate covered. And it's been working out for them, yes. But I feel like that Rafters, they need to take control of it a lot quicker than they have been. Two players on breach. One on that CC window. Two players playing over towards garage. Take control of it. You can get one player on the rotate, one player down below for lounge. You can deal with two issues that you've had. You can have a crossfire. You stop the radio door getting aggressive. You can cover that player. In this case, lock to the room.
10 seconds to go.
You can stop them from getting down to lounge. Stop them from getting that kill, get that plant down, and you've suddenly got a really good post plant. Maybe it's just one of those things where Wayne State, just take a look at your post plant positions. What's the game plan for it? How do you want to say, well, we got the plant down. What's next? Because we don't want it to be like the Wild West, you know? Regardless, though, we're going to return back to this site. How are they going to deal with this now? Well, they're going to open up dirt very, very quickly. Looks like another dirt kitchen push. Question is, are they going to go straight to that Logi hatch? I think they are, and I'm very pleased to see that. There might not be a player up there, but that doesn't matter. It's getting into good habits, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, you want to, on a direct take, it's kind of how I say it. Whenever I'm IGLing my teams, or back when I really was playing a lot more, when you're doing a direct take, you can take it slower. You don't need a lot of control. You just want to take it slow, take your time, and make sure that you're covering all your bases, because there's not a lot that you really need to do. So you can afford to waste a little bit more time, and you don't have to be that efficient with what you're doing. And they seemingly are, taking their time a lot more right now than they were before. And this attack is looking a lot better than they were before. And that fuse, timing-wise, coming out very well. But Robo gets a kill. I don't even know where he just got that one, but that's a huge kill on the Iana. That's a set of nades off the board. That's huge as well. Frosty not getting these Habanas off. That Habana is open, but the sledge, I'm not really sure where he's at. He's not doing any vert on this in kitchen for Armory. And with that being said, that allows all of the players to just have that freedom. And Bubba does know that Edgy is here. Edgy isn't oil pit. He can maybe create some sort of, I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what the word is, but chaos. That's what it is. Sorry, I'm very not well spoken on the day, but they do take that dirt control and that blue control, and they've given up a lot of control Platteville has. But Locke does get another kill. We're seeing him return to that form that he was, earlier in this series. And Baka Bill working his way through dirt, and Percy working his way through the bottom main. They do have info on him bottom main, and that is a great smoke coming out. And Baka Bill can work his way in. I'm not sure anyone's watching for him here. He walks into sight. He ends up not getting the kill. Frosty turns at just the right moment. And a 4v2, as I say that, traded out by Empressy. It's a 3v2. Empressy gonna work his way towards dirt. And they're gonna have to try and find a way to drop through this hatch. He's gonna have to tank the Aruna gate. And Empressy starting to work his way through. And he ends up dropping the hatch by himself. Terry on his own. He's going to start getting the bomb down. Empressy does get one. Somebody hits it in a Nomad, and Locke ends up getting the kill. He denies the plant. Platteville take another round, find themselves up 4-1 on this map 3 decider. And I don't know what Wayne State really are trying to do here. You see, we talked about this earlier. They have the point A. The early rounds are great, but we're going to just have to keep saying it, I guess, until it happens. The mid-round and end round are just not very clear, it seems.
Yeah, I feel like Wayne State, they might be getting a little bit ahead of themselves. We're looking at a team that they have that kitchen. That floor is theirs. But unfortunately, what we're seeing is they're starting to get a bit too aggressive. We're seeing Hollow starting to get a little bit too pushed down. It's starting to push down towards dirt. There's no support, there's no vertical cover through kitchen. Then we have Edgy going in, able to find a kill down oil pit. Wonderful. But I don't think Edgy should be pushing. You shouldn't be pushing down into that oil pit without any more support. The entire defense, especially that half, blue, the blue stairs, and church, they're all holding that angle because they know they're not feeling any pressure from somewhere else. So what you want to do, you want to get Terry in. Get Terry or Becker, whichever player is playing the fuse. Get them in, get those fuse charges down, have that sledge start causing that pressure. In doing so, that creates that chaos that you were talking about. That's what Wayne State want to do. That's what they thrive off. And that's where Platteville really start to struggle. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And they kind of left it down to 1v1, v1. It's a 5v1, v1, v1, v1 in my opinion, when it came to that execute. Hopefully that's not going to be the case again. We saw them win this round. This is the one round they've won so far on the one site. And yet again, they're looking for a very direct take onto site. Get this wall open, get inside kitchen, shut down the main stairs players, and get this plank going down. Fuse charge will go off to deny any potential bandit triggers or mute jammers, and the utility going through will certainly make life a little bit easier pushing forward.
that.
But quick reinforce coming in from Fossey, or Bait actually is going to draw the attention of the attackers, but not really going to receive any fruits.
I believe what ended up happening actually is he kind of realized that the wall wasn't fully open, and they did once again mistime the EMPs with the ace charges. And now, since that wall's not completely open, he doesn't have to worry about reinforcing that wall. They can't even get in, and Locke again finds the early kill, and that has completely screwed over the side of Wayne State. That was their other set of EMPs. They're not going to be able to get that main wall open unless some crazy things happen. Jetro gets another kill on Terry. That's also the hard breach going down. Frosty gets another, and this attack is just falling apart from the side of Wayne State. Platteville looking fantastic on this defense.
Yeah, yet again, we're only seeing with about a minute 20 left. We're looking at the window performance coming through, and now Platteville, they've listened, they've got a player over in CC. They realized where they started to fall short in the last time they were in this round, and now Bubba has to play it safe, play it comfortable. Wayne State, their window play is coming in a little bit too late for my liking. This fuse charge is going through with a minute left when that push should be supporting the attack, and I think Backerville, Empressy, you did your best. Unfortunately, at that point, the round wasn't really going to be won. It was when you looked towards the breach. It didn't get open. We saw players in gym, they have a lot of freedom, and that's Platteville. They have too much freedom of movement. And this is something that I was saying Wayne State need to be, kept locked up for. Wayne State are really good with freedom of movement, but so are Platteville. And that's why we're seeing both of these teams being good. Platteville, they have the consistency. That's where they're starting to just nip these rounds with the 5-round advantage now. They're looking very, very dominant. And I feel like it does come down to Wayne State maybe not having that mid-game sorted out just yet. Could they take it to match point? Could they have it closed in potentially one attacking round? Do you think it's possible, Joe?
I mean, it's definitely possible. Look, the guns are hot. And I mean, Platteville, utility-wise, I mean, it wasn't necessarily that they were doing great with their utility as much as it was, you know, Wayne State just really messing up. That was 3 times that they messed up with their EMPs and aces. That's just not something that you can have happen on a map like Clubhouse. That really depends on you getting these hard walls open. If you can't get these hard walls open, you're going to struggle attacking the map, and they heavily struggled doing that, and Platteville ended up just winning the gunfights outside of that, and they've looked really good on those defenses, but for the most part, these attacks are a little different, and I do like a lot what the Bandit is doing here. He is Bandit tricking this wall, which is definitely something that's very good. It's not something you always see, but you know, if you throw in a double EMP, maybe you can make something happen, but they now have somebody on CC window. They need nades for it. However, they're not going to be able to get this wall open, and that's just... They're trying to be able to get this wall open, but not necessarily an adequate use of utility.
Oh, the triple bandit trick coming down, because obviously you can use all 4 of your bandits, just if you want to, on a single wall, making Bubba and Robo's life very, very difficult. Wayne State going to pull back, Locked to the Rim's going to be able to find that first kill, takes off Empressy off the board.
Oh, he's going to
get
Bandit's
it. Still there. The trick's going to come through, and that thermite charge is taken away. Same, there's 1 charge left. This is where you look towards Sabana or towards Thermite, and, well, you just kind of see why you want to see them pick. That Rafters rotate has been covered. Frosty Games able to find Hollow now. We're able to compound that advantage. Nearly hits Lock as well, but we've just got to be happy that right now Frosty is just shaking a little bit at that point.
No way.
Main breach still gonna get denied, and so is that construction single wall. The aggression comes through. Terry Paul is able to find a frag and to Lock to the rim, but half the rounds left and still a player disadvantage. Jetreo gets taken down. The construction presence very much there for the side of Platteville. This is still looking very good for the attack, much better than we've seen on the flip side for Wayne State.
Yeah, and I mean, the nades are just not really being adequately used. Jetreo is also using claymores over smokes, which definitely isn't necessarily something great. Bubba also has another thermite charge, and if he wants to, he could get this open, but they're gonna have to find a way to work up the red stairs. They're kind of in, stuck between a rock and a hard place, and not having those smokes are definitely gonna hurt them a lot. Edgy gets another kill from the Raptor side. He ends up killing that Sledge of Frosty, who was trying to make that play, but now they're stuck with just running in through a couple of things. That smoke might have been good for cutting off this guy in Rafters and being able to just run in, but now they don't have that utility to work with. Jetreo is going to have to try and find a way to do something as well, but he's not working in, and Frobo just walks in. He kills the player on red. He gets traded out by Terry, but Bubba can try and make something happen, but that is the player on red, and he can work his way up. He ends up throwing a C4, and he ends up getting the kill. And Platteville, we talked about it. Wayne State struggled with the utility on their offenses. Platteville seemed to be having the same exact issues that they were.
Yeah, they did. Looking over towards that was a beautiful endgame coming out from the side of Wayne State. They were able to draw back just a bit. Platteville, very good attack from the start. They had that garage pressure, I will admit. They didn't commit to it towards the end, but they did go for that construction push. And having that Rafters rotate opened up in garage wall by a lot to the rim immediately says, okay, Wayne State, we know you're playing garage. You don't know there's going to be a player holding this. You have to assume there is. Which means that Rafters player has a lot of phantom pressure applied to them. They have to hold that position or go down the garage stairs or risk it. You never know really what's going to happen, so it's never really a safe bet moving from that position. A very defensive team will just want to hold that. They won't want to move at all. Platteville, they had the rotations around, but then it came to Wayne State. The bandit tricking from Terry, absolutely huge. The C4 following through as well, incredible. Edgy, Terry, Robert, Edgy and Terry, very good end game crossfire. They were able to cut off the key points at which the attackers wanted. Had the C4 for red, had Terry watching construction, and then had Edgy covering the CCTV side. Very well played. I want to see more of this, Wayne State. You're not out of it yet, and that last round proved it.
Yeah, absolutely not. But like I said, we're going to want to see that utility coming out. And Jetreo does switch to those smokes, so I assume that last round was a mistake. But Frosty also has claymores on Osa, where he could have had smokes as well. And what I don't understand is that both teams are kind of doing this is they're not necessarily trying to roam clear too much, and then they're bringing Jackal. They're going for these direct takes, but bringing Jackal, which isn't necessarily a lot. Doesn't really make sense that much. Like, if you're going to go for a roam clear, take the Jackal. But if you're not, don't bring him. Bring somebody else with more utility. Bring a Sledge maybe, because you look at this right now, there's not a single op on the board that can do any type of vert. And good luck clearing out Armory without any vert. I guess you could use the shotgun on the side of the Jackal, but that's not necessarily as great as bringing either a Buck or maybe, even a Sledge. So not necessarily a fan of op picks yet again by either of these teams, but they end up getting the hatch open. Definitely a good start. They survive a C4, and Hollow starting to work his way over for maybe a flank.
Yeah, and I feel like right now, with that kitchen pressure, with the dirt players in position, and the push in kitchen ready to take place should Platteville want it, I feel like having Hollow ready on that roam is incredibly powerful. You have that player above ready to deal with Robo, Jetreo, and Habana, and Empress is going to be the one to kick things off, finding that frag. Edgy and Hollow each pick up one of their own, and now the 2 versus 5. 2 players still up above, and now the roamers are going to come into play. Cut these players off, force them into the 1 versus 1 to lock to the rim. Gonna have to push down these main stairs. They know that you're there. They are going to be holding you. You're just going to have to take this gunfight. You don't want to push down main and drop through Moto Hatch. So you look towards Kitchen Hatch. But there's an Aruna gate and there's players watching it. Time ticking down. We're looking at Platteville with very difficult decisions to make, and they're going to have to make them very, very soon. As Wayne State just locked in.
All they have to do is kill this Goyo. It's all they have to do. They could double up on the hatch, play 1 on the drop, and if they can kill this Goyo, they might have a little bit of control to be able to make this work. That's another C4 going out. They don't really have any sense of denial. They can drop and maybe kill this Goyo. That would be a huge pick, but I'm not sure that they know that he's there, and that's going to hurt them a lot. They're not completely sure. He's facing the wrong direction. Robo on his own, they are aware of his position, and He has gone down, and that's another round for Wayne State. And McCready, I just gotta say, man, this map, look, this may come out as harsh, but this map, especially recently, has come out to be a lot more attacker-sided, where, 3-3 is the normal thing rather than a 4-2 on defense. And just the lack of ability with util is a little disheartening to see, and the issues that Platteville are having were the same one that Wayne State was having. And when you can't even get walls open and you can't even do that basic getting vert, you're not even bringing a sledge, and you saw a lot of the damage that was done that round was from players who were back armoring, where that easily would have been countered if you just bring a sledge. So it's like that utility is just not really being used to the best that they could be. And I'd like to see Platteville bring out that utility that you really should be using on this map, because Wayne State is having a lot of freedom to do what they want to do. And to say the least, they're also doing really well with their utility as well. Terry's been really good with the bandits. They've been pretty good with their C4s. They've been good with holding their crossfires, not giving up too much control, giving away picks. They've been looked very good on their defenses, where Platteville, they just need to find a way to get it together, because they're 2 rounds away from closing out this series. So you just want to see them make it work.
Yeah, I mean, you really, really do, because you look at a team that are this close, and it's just little things, genuinely little things in some cases, that are causing problems. Now, Terry, very happy to see them back on the jacuzzi wall. They have the bandit charges. They're looking to get this denial. They can go for the bandit trick. I expect them to go for the bandit trick, and I expect them to do quite well. Yes, they do have those EMP gadgets, but Terry can just place down 2 bandit charges, add another one. Both of those, heart-breaching gadgets go down. The thermite charge will go off and opens up that jacuzzi wall. Much better attempt than what we saw from Wayne State. It has to be said, that wall has got open. That wall, that entrance onto site is there. Terry has a choice. Go for the C4 or just go for the reinforcement. Now, the window pressure's coming through. Platteville looking a lot more methodical than what we saw from Wayne State on their attack.
And that's a good pick as well from Locke. And they're doing the damage, but like I said earlier, the lack of a ranged hard breach does not allow you to open up that bathroom wall, which is a huge, huge thing to be able to do. But they do have that breach open. They have man advantage. They have control of the master balk, and if they so choose, they can walk into breach whenever they would like, but they need to clear that bathroom player. And as I say that, Treyo does exactly that. He's working up his long haul right now. He ends up getting killed from a player in the dark corner, and that's 3 picks just out of nowhere going in, and the man advantage is completely just gone. But they have all this control. Rob is on this gym window. He's going to try his best to watch the cross, but for the most part, Bubba has to do all of the heavy lifting here. He still has 3 flashes to work with. He can hop in the bathroom if he would like, and this is a really bad position for Robo to be in. I think he should go help out if he can on the breach. Bubba is aware, however, of this player on his main stairs. He is just holding for the time being, and Robo needs to get in a position to help a little bit more, but that call comes in. He's going to look like he's trying to hop through the window. Bubba does get a kill on Island. He is in bathroom. He's looking to win that one. Robo does get that kill. They have to hear that barb. He's going to have to work his way up, and Bubba holding the angle. It seems like he's aware. Edgy going to have to try and clutch this one out. Robo takes a lot of damage from that flames. He is watching the cross here, and he does get that kill. That is another attack round going in on Jim. And guess what? That's match point for Platteville.
Series point as well for Platteville. They've taken Villa in a overtime game that they took the overtime pretty confidently. Jumping over the border, while they weren't able to deliver the same performance, their clubhouse has certainly made up for it. Yes, that attack in that last round, that was methodical. The checklist was there. It's what we said we wanted to see, even all the way back in Villa. And it's what we saw. They said, right, let's get this jacuzzi wall open. We'll leave 1 player nearby. Do not push it. Do not overpeak. Do not overcommit. Rotate to the windows. Start putting the pressure on. But there, construction logic fell into place as well. The execute came through very nicely. They had all these pieces in place. They weren't trying to have too many moving parts going at once. They took their time and they settle away. So Wayne State, they're going back to the first site that they were able to defend properly, and it's one that they struggle to attack, definitely, but I feel like their defense is a lot more comfortable than the attack. This is where their bandit trick really started to step up. Their use of his army already to try and help out, just that little bit more piece of utility. I'll catch him, maybe. Just to make sure Terry's alive. Can stay on that breach, get that utility off the wall. I want to see a little bit of the roaming playing come through. Maybe a player down below, maybe in the form of Empressy. We saw that they like to take that role a little bit. Ultimately, though, I want to see Platteville. I want to see them lock it down. They've done it before. They can do it again. They came close on the last time we were on this site, so why can't they go again? Hard breach gadgets will be used. The bandit charges will go down, but the garage rafters rotate will be covered. This time an entrance will be made as well by the player of Lock to the Rim. Yet again, putting so much pressure on the attack defenders playing that rafters position. And speaking of pressure, Terry's just not having a great time. The bandit tricks are coming through though, and doing beautiful. The audio cues baiting, but all the EMP gadgets are gone. Pick them up. They've got to rotate around. Just put the charges down and focus somewhere else.
I just don't know why he didn't use his heart breach charge to try and get the other side of the wall. If they put heart breaches on both sides, he can't do both at the same time, but that is the bandit going down. If they can try and find a way to get them off. Well, actually, I am saying that, but they don't actually have thermite left. But they do have the wall open through a heart breach charge, and the Lock just runs into sight. He gets a kill. He's looking to close this one out. He has a player on his bottom red, but Baka does get the kill back. But the damage has been done. That is a player going down. They have another player in con. He's not looking at him. That might be a kill going down as well. He ends up getting taken out from a garage run out. Chatreo ends up getting the trade. He's going to hold for this player top red. They know that he's there. They're not sure where this last player is, but this is match point, series point. They're going to close off this breach, make sure that they don't have to worry about it. And McCready, are we seeing the end of this series unfold under our eyes?
Yeah, it looks like we might do now. The utility will be going through the line scan. Signals what could be the final push, but it's not meant to be just yet. Platteville, they're not ready to make it happen. They have a minute left. They have drones. They're going to use them. They spot the rafters player. That radio window, that's not a push. That's just a cutoff point now. You've got to be careful with the entry. You know where Edgy's playing. You know what angle's being covered. And you know there's somebody red. Time ticking down. And Platteville, they know they've got to make this push. They know they've got to win it. That's got to be Robo winning the gunfight on Tobacco, pushes through, looks to the gunfight onto Edgy. He isn't able to land those shots, but knows exactly where this player is. The plank can start to go down. A crossfire can be put in place by the two remaining players. They just need somebody to play over towards that radio window. Plank goes down, though. Time ticks down, and Wayne State, they're fighting to stay in it. The audio cue of the Azami Gate comes through. The flames holding Edgy in place. And now the push to retake red takes place. And now, this is where the construction player comes into play. Spots Robo, takes him off the board. It's all down to Chatreo and Bubba to close things out. The pro player is able to find some damage, but doesn't get taken down. Bubba takes the kill, takes Edgy, and takes Platteville all the way to 3-1 on this best of 3 series.
Wow. Definitely a crazy play. Lock ended up making the play. Robo also doing the exact same thing. They just run themselves into cash, which is something you don't necessarily like to see. They didn't have any main wall pressure, and they still got in. But we were talking about it. The utility needed to be a little bit better. I was a little confused on why they didn't use the heartbeat gadget, and they used a fuse charge instead. They allowed themselves really to, get bandit tricked on that wall. But it ended up getting open at one point. Lock ended up getting the kill on the bandit, allowing them to be able to get that wall open. Huge, being able to do it. And then Lock not only getting that opening pick, but he also opened up the round by just sprinting into sight and getting that kill on the top red player. Opened up everything. Even though he went 1-for-1, he gave them that man advantage. And even, instead of 4 people, it might be 5v4, you might go down a man, but at the same time, 3 defenders is a lot different than 4. 3 defenders can watch less angles. And because of that, they weren't watching the cash running again. And Robo walked in while someone wasn't watching it, where, you have less players, you have less guns, you're not going to be able to watch it. And he runs in, makes the same exact play. He opens up the round. They get that sight control, and boom, that's another attack win. And, I don't know exactly what was going on with them this entire season, but that is Wayne State's first loss. And in my eyes, that's a little bit of an upset we just had here.
Yeah, I mean, it is when you look at it on paper, but when you look at the maps that we played, I feel like this is kind of the expected result, and we looked at the last couple of maps. This is where we saw Platteville, they were able to look at the game and say, well, okay, right, we've been able to catch them off guard when they've not been taking their time. That's something we can deal with. That mid-game is where we've been able to catch that edge. That's something I want to give them credit for. They were able to slow things down, say, right, where do we need to go? What do we need to do? What positions do we need? For example, having Jetreo run in against Cash, finding that kill opens things up. Like you say, those players aren't there. They can't hold all these angles when you think about the position. They can't reposition. They've got a player over those rafters. They've got a player that has to come back into Cash, yes, but then it's a 1v1. And at that point, they can slow things down. They can think about what they want to do. They can think about how they want to play it. I feel like Platteville, that was basically they won it with the map picks, and that was where it was really decided. But Wayne State, a beautiful game to them. Hats off as well. They really gave us quite a few enjoyable moments, and definitely ones that they'll be looking back with a little bit of pride as well. I won't lie to you. But, Joe, that's it for us, isn't it?
It is indeed it for us. I just like to, thank him. I'm a little thankful. I don't know who specifically I have to thank for being allowed to cast today. I was thought of to come in and sub, and I appreciate that opportunity. This was an absolutely fun game to cast. I'm not going to lie. It was absolutely beautiful. And McCready, it was a pleasure to cast with you as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. Huge shout out to our producer and observer, and that's going to be the unnamed gamer on the cameras, making sure you see all the action, and Shiro making sure the stream looks nice and beautiful as always. We are going to be heading off for the night, though. Do not miss the action that we have all the way through the week, that we have with all the esports games you could possibly want. But for Rainbow Six Siege, we'll be back, and we'll see you next week.